Living with the Arrogant Queen from High School is Surprisingly Not Uncomfortable. Volume 2, by Miss Daziman, translated by Yuki Kitsuniko, audiobook by Masquerade at Masquerade Audiobooks. Chapter 1, The Jealous Queen. It must have been when I was around 5 years old. During lunch break at kindergarten, while the other kids ran outside to play, I headed toward the toy bin in the corner of the room, planning to line up some dominoes by myself. "Yamamoto-kun, let's go play outside together." The voice came from a girl in my class as I made my way to the toy bin. From what I can vaguely remember, she was popular with the boys our age. I guess her dependable personality struck a chord, even with our young minds. I don't know why she invited me to play with her. Probably because she had that caring personality and just couldn't ignore how I was always alone. "I'm good. Playing with dominoes is more fun than playing with everyone." I answered in a flat tone. There was no lie in my words, no hidden meaning either. I just wanted to play with dominoes more than I wanted to play outside. I just wanted to play alone more than I wanted to play with friends. That was all it was. Looking back now, I realize I've always had a tendency to say one thing too many. "Well, the girl burst into tears, and I panicked, unsure of what to do. Thanks to the teacher, who quickly stepped in to mediate, the girl eventually stopped crying, but the incident became a bit of a sensation at the kindergarten for a while. It's not like that one event led to me getting bullied or anything. But people did start treating me like I was made of glass, and I ended up keeping more to myself because of it. Even at home, I barely spoke with my family. I spent most of my time alone, even back then. And I guess that's why. Why I started preferring to be alone. Why I grew indifferent to socializing. Why I ended up with so few people I could even call friends. Not that I'm trying to play the victim or fish for sympathy here. I was just reflecting a bit, trying to understand how I ended up the way I am now. And if you're wondering, what made me suddenly start thinking about all this? It's because I, someone who preferred solitude and avoided relationships, was about to start living with a girl at the age of 19. You never know where life's going to take you, and the person I'm living with is a former high school classmate. To think I'd end up living with that Hayashi. It was the second Sunday since Hayashi Megumi moved in with me. As I scrubbed the bathroom, I found myself reflecting on the absurd chain of events that had brought me to this point. Back in high school, the idea of me and Hayashi living together someday would have seemed absolutely impossible. We were like oil and water. No matter what, we couldn't mix, and if you tried to force it, it'd just blow up in your face. So how did we end up living together now? It all started after graduation, when Hayashi, the so-called arrogant queen and quintessential popular girl, began living with another guy. Most people would probably wonder, why is she living with me now, of all people? Of course, it's not because she cheated. Hayashi, despite how she acted in school, has always been fiercely loyal to the people she truly cared about. There's no way she'd betray someone she was close enough to live with. So what happened? She ran away. Hayashi had been suffering domestic abuse from the guy she lived with. Unable to take it anymore, she escaped, and by some twist of fate, ran into me. That encounter led, somehow, to us living together. Me, the guy who's used to being alone and hates having his space invaded. And Hayashi, the same arrogant queen from high school who used to strut around like she ruled the place. It's not hard to imagine how that's going. A living arrangement like ours, oil and water, had to be full of clashes, full of arguments, and an absolute disaster, right? Yeah, no, wait a sec. Hold on. Lol. Don't underestimate me. Let me be perfectly clear. Yamamoto, get over here right now. That assumption, pretty much spot on. At the sound of Hayashi's shout, I stopped scrubbing. Her voice, sharp and shrill, was undeniably furious. She said, "Come here," but honestly, I really didn't want to. Still, I sighed and stepped out of the bathroom. I figured pissing her off even more would just make things harder later. When I entered the living room, she was sitting formally on her knees in front of the small table. "Sit." She pointed across from her, indicating I should sit down too. "Sit doesn't really tell me anything," I muttered, trying to play dumb. "Sit." Yeah, that didn't work. In fact, it only seemed to make things worse. Just my imagination? Nope, definitely not. Honestly, she's terrifying. My knees are about to give out. With a grimace, I sat down across from her. "Do you know why I'm mad?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Well, your voice sounds angry." That's not what I meant. Yeah, figured. Didn't I say something yesterday? I stayed silent, did she? You don't remember? Not really. I said it for your sake, and you don't even remember. Her tone grew sharper, but I had no idea what she was talking about. I just sat there, unsure how to respond. Hayashi let out a long, deep sigh, at least 3 syllables worth. She looked thoroughly exasperated. What time did you hole up in the bathroom? Huh. The sound I made was almost comedic. I said, what time did you start hiding in the bathroom? At her sharp questioning, my eyes darted away instinctively. Since when was I in the bathroom? I don't remember something like that. Obviously. Cleaning is my hobby, my passion, my lifeblood, my entertainment. Asking how much time I spent on something so enjoyable is the height of tactlessness. Probably. Besides, what does the time I spent in the bathroom have to do with whatever Hayashi's mad about now? 3 hours. What is? You started cleaning the bathroom at 10. And now, when I called you, it's 1 o'clock. Oh. So the 3 hours she's talking about is how long I've been cleaning the bathroom. Look at her. Hayashi actually tracked the time in detail. How laid back of me. Well, I guess I can sort of see what she's getting at. I told you yesterday, didn't I? I told you, didn't I? Maybe you did. Another heavy sigh escaped her lips. I get that you love your hobby, but don't you think obsessing over it too much is a problem? But thanks to that, the bathroom's as clean as it was the day this place was built. That's not the point. Didn't think so. I've decided. Decided what? She suddenly declared something out of the blue, and I tilted my head. Cleaning is limited to 1 hour a day. For a moment, I couldn't grasp what she meant. 1 hour a day? What does that even mean? I couldn't make sense of the words. Were they even in Japanese, Chinese, English, Thai maybe, Kop Kun crap? Damn it, if I knew this would happen, I'd have studied more languages. All I know is, whatever Hayashi just said, it can't be Japanese. Because if it was, that would mean she's restricting the amount of time I can spend cleaning, right? Ahaha. Ahahaha, no way, that's impossible. Cleaning improves your quality of life the more you do it, you know? It benefits both of us. What reason could there be to limit something that's purely beneficial? If I don't put a time limit on it, you'll never stop. So there is a reason. Starting tomorrow, if you clean for more than an hour, I'll get mad. If I clean more than an hour, she'll get mad. It was Japanese. Wait, seriously. You have to follow it, no exceptions. No way. Don't act like a child. Then don't act like my mom. No, wait, that's not right. Because my mom, when I cleaned the living room, used to go, "Hey, you missed a spot over here," and point at the dust in front of the sofa she'd be lounging on. Honestly, I think she saw me as a fully automated cleaning robot with a built-in communication function. How sad is that? Poor me. And now Hayashi's being even more of a mom than my actual mom, a time limit. What is this, a game? I mean, sure, it's a form of entertainment, but still. Anyway, there's one thing I won't compromise on. If I back down now, I really will be stuck only cleaning for an hour a day. I can't give in. I must not give in. This is a battle I cannot lose. Yamamoto, remember. Hayashi pointed at the table. I called you at 12, didn't I? Did you? I averted my eyes from the table. Hayashi kept pointing, unwavering. I mustn't look. If I look at the table, the battle is over. Lunch got cold, you know. Even without looking, just hearing that was enough to know I had lost. I called you at 12. She repeated intentionally. I said lunch was ready, didn't I? I felt like a kid who just got scolded for doing something wrong. Couldn't meet her eyes, biting my lower lip. It was just like getting told off by Mom. When I told you lunch was ready, what did you say? I lowered my head and fell silent. What did you say? I might have said I'd be right there. And what did I say to that? You told me not to take too long, maybe. Lunch was ready at 12, it's now 1. A whole hour has passed since I called you. So I kept her waiting for an hour, huh? That made me think. If the situation were reversed and I had to wait an hour for lunch, how would I feel? Yeah, I'd be pissed. So that's why Hayashi's mad. Brilliant deduction. Yamamoto. Yeah. How many hours of cleaning per day? I went silent, I had no choice. I had to say it, I knew already, but still. 2 hours. If you're going to rebel, at least make it a proper rebellion. Look, if I started at 10 and cleaned for 2 hours, that's noon exactly right. You always add extra time though, don't you? I can't say I don't. Exactly. GRRR. Yamamoto. Hayashi's voice had that tone, half gentle, half stern. Depending on my answer, it could go either way. How many hours of cleaning per day? I. 1. Good. Damn it, I lost. Yep. We really are like oil and water. We'll never mix, and if you try to, there'll be a violent reaction. Mostly from me. So now I can only clean for an hour a day? It used to be so fun. It used to be exciting. This sucks. At least that's how I felt for the most part. Okay, let's eat. Looking at the table, where 2 plates of food had been waiting, I suddenly felt like a spoiled child throwing a tantrum. It was pathetic. Apparently, Hayashi had waited a whole hour for me to eat with her. Sorry. That's my line, actually. She gave me a grin that was surprisingly kind of manly. Well then, itadakimasu. Itadakimasu. Our oil and water cohabitation. A miracle if it goes well. As I reflected on just a few days of living together, full of ups and downs, I found myself revisiting a feeling I'd noticed before. Living with her isn't as uncomfortable as I expected. That's what I thought. Though I'd never say that to her face. Too embarrassing. And so, another peaceful day passed in our odd little daily life. Section. That night, the same day I was put under the 1-hour cleaning limit, we had dinner together, and then spent our time separately in the small 6-tatami room. I was watching a variety show on TV. Hayashi was watching videos on the tablet I'd lent her a while back. What is with this guy? He's so infuriating. From the sound of it, she was watching one of those justice-served videos. Ever since I took her in and handed over the tablet, she'd been really into them. At first, I figured she related to the poor protagonist who always gets treated horribly at the start, and watched these stories as a form of catharsis, wanting to get back at the guy who abused her. But now that she's vented all her bottled-up feelings about that scumbag, she's still watching them. Which probably just means she genuinely enjoys good guys win, bad guys get punished stories. Ahaha. That's hilarious. Hayashi laughed out loud, lying on the bed on her back. Judging from the sound of the video, she was probably at the climax scene, where the selfish villain finally gets their just desserts. Laughing during that part makes her come off a little wicked. Looks like divine punishment struck back. The tablet she was holding slipped from her hands and smacked her right in the face. Oof, that's gotta hurt. Ugh. Clutching her forehead, Hayashi writhed on the bed, kicking her legs in pain. And then it happened. As she thrashed around, her t-shirt shifted, and her belly button became fully exposed. My eyes were drawn to it like a planet caught in a black hole's gravitational pull. Ever since she'd taken shelter here, she'd basically been a shut-in. She probably hadn't exercised at all. But despite that, her body was still incredibly slender, almost too thin. So much so, I sometimes worried that even the slightest bump might break a bone. But in contrast to her overly slim figure, Hayashi's chest was assertive. And right now, if I waited just a little longer, there was a real chance I might catch a glimpse of it. I quickly looked away from Hayashi. No, that's no good. Even if we're just a guy and girl of similar age living under the same roof, something indecent would still be wrong. Wait, is it really wrong? If a guy and girl are living together under one roof, isn't it natural that at least one or two things might happen? Actually, isn't it strange to call something indecent a mistake in the first place? I mean, if this were ancient times, you could call that kind of thing a ritual to expel demons or something, and get away with calling it holy. In other words, what I was doing just now was completely natural. Peeking is a sacred act. What a leap in logic. This must be how cult leaders are born. Anyway, what I really thought was, this is what's become of the girl who used to be called the queen back in high school. Despite once being hailed as a queen, Hayashi now lay writhing in pain after dropping a tablet on her own face. It was honestly kind of pathetic. If one of her old enemies from high school saw her like this, they'd probably feel incredibly vindicated. Like 5 prolonged vowel sounds worth of vindication. Someone who used to be at odds with her back in high school. That was me, wasn't it? Want a cold towel? I'm fine. So she said, eyes watery with tears. She clearly didn't look fine. But if she says she is, then I guess that's that. Still, Hayashi's a bit careless, isn't she? Always nearly injuring herself over the silliest things. Now that I think about it, when she first moved in here, she stubbed her foot against the wall, didn't she? Maybe she's actually kind of clumsy? Nope. I should stop this line of thinking. If I assign any more character traits to her, this whole situation's going to turn into a complete mess. Seriously. You need to stay a little more alert. I told her once she'd calmed down. Your ex still hasn't been caught, remember? A few days ago, when Hayashi ran out of the apartment, she just happened to bump into her ex, the one who'd abused her. They had a screaming match right in the middle of town, and it escalated into a police incident. Personally, I was glad. I wanted this to turn into something official, to involve the authorities. I thought we finally had the guy cornered, but right before the cops arrived, he vanished into thin air. Sure, Hayashi made it clear to him that she was done, but the fact that he escaped means we're still stuck in a half-resolved situation. So now, even though she cut ties with him, Hayashi's stuck living a shut-in life, unable to step outside. Well, I'm sure it'll work out somehow. Hayashi brushed off my concern with those words. I wanted to complain about how ridiculously optimistic she sounded, but I held back. If I said too much, she might get depressed, or worse, snap back at me. And besides, it's not like she can stay cooped up here forever. We're not a couple. Like I thought earlier, two people of opposite sexes living together like this, something's bound to happen sooner or later. And if it does, I honestly wouldn't mind. I've already got more than enough embarrassing stories in my life. But Hayashi isn't like me. Even if she did suffer abuse, she also has a history of spiraling out of control when things fall apart. If something happened between us and she ended up alone again, there's no telling what she might do. And honestly, it's not great that I'm the only person she can rely on right now. Depending on just one person in life tends to lead to unhealthy dependence. So, if she really wants to move on from that guy, the next step has to be reconnecting with the friends and family she cut off because of him. Still, what he put her through was brutal, bad enough to make anyone distrust the entire human race. She needs to rebuild those lost connections, but is now the right time, or should she wait a bit longer? Completely unaware of what I was thinking, Hayashi had already turned her attention back to the tablet. This time, she was watching a stream of short-form videos, not even a minute long each, just scrolling aimlessly. She even switched to lying on her stomach, probably to prevent another tablet-to-face accident. Thanks to that, her cute belly was no longer visible, not that it mattered. Though I guess I was a little disappointed. Just then, I heard a graduation song coming from the tablet. Looked like some clip from a student's graduation ceremony. It was the diploma ceremony. One of the students called out a friend's name and then shouted something silly. Everyone around was trying hard not to laugh. That kind of video, pretty typical stuff. And yet, despite how unoriginal it is, people just have to upload it to the internet for their friends to laugh at. Honestly, that kind of thing just becomes a digital tattoo, something you'll regret later. They really shouldn't do it. At the very least, I never would. I don't really get what's supposed to be funny about these. Hayashi said. Same. Or maybe it's just that you don't have friends to goof off with like this. Sudden sucker punch. Ahata. She let out a dry laugh, then put the tablet to sleep and rolled onto her back again. For a while, she said nothing, just staring up at the ceiling. I wonder if everyone's doing okay. It's been about 2 weeks since she ran away from that guy and took shelter here. I honestly don't know if things are better for her now or worse. Sure, she took the first step to break free, but the guy hasn't been caught yet, and she still hasn't reconnected with her friends or family. No way to contact them. The only person she can rely on is me, someone she used to hate back in high school. She dropped out of college, and she doesn't even have money to support herself. She's still facing a mountain of problems. I'm sure she's feeling pressure and anxiety about it all. But even so, maybe because she made the decision herself, faced that guy head-on, her mental state seems a lot better than when she first arrived. How do I know? Because back then, she didn't have the emotional bandwidth to even think about how her old friends were doing. She was just trying to survive, but now that's changed. So maybe, just maybe, she's ready. Hey, Hayashi. Want to go buy a smartphone tomorrow? A smartphone? Yeah. A smartphone, huh? The phone she used to have was smashed by that guy. That's how she lost touch with her friends and family from high school. But knowing Hayashi, once she gets a phone again, she'll be able to reconnect with all of them in no time. That's why I suggested it. At my offer, she hesitated. I didn't need to ask why, I already knew. If it's money, don't worry. I'll lend you some. I'd already explained my finances to her in detail once. Depending on the model, a cheap smartphone wouldn't be too hard for me to cover. As long as she planned to pay me back, I was willing to foot the bill. I can't. But she turned me down. Probably didn't want to use my money for something she considered a luxury. Honestly, she's been holding back ever since she came here. Hard to believe this girl was once called the queen back in high school. Honestly, getting Hayashi to agree and buy a smartphone with my money wouldn't be impossible. If I wanted to be pushy about it, I could just go out, buy one, and hand it to her. That would resolve the issue, forcefully but effectively, but that defeats the purpose. What do you want to do? I asked Hayashi directly, do you want a smartphone or not? In the end, people are self-centered creatures. Sometimes, someone shows up crying about how unfair something is and demands that society change. And every time I see a case like that, I wonder, did the so-called victim actually ask for that help? Did they say, please help me? Did they say, I'm suffering? Most of the time, they didn't say a thing. So then why does that person try to change society? Because they don't like the way things are. In the end, they're acting out of their own self-interest. They just invoke someone else's name to make it sound bigger. They want to make it seem like they have an army of supporters behind them. That's all it really is. Anyway, getting back to the point. What I mean is, Hayashi has to be the one to decide. What she wants to do, how she wants to act, it's her life. And her choices only mean something if she makes them. Hayashi hesitated. She was still unsure. I do want a smartphone. Her voice was quiet, almost timid. I want to talk to everyone again. I see. But I'm not borrowing money from you. I see. Yeah. If that's what she's decided, then I have no reason to argue. But she wasn't done, so I'll buy it with my own money. She said it firmly. From the part-time jobs I had before I lived with him, or even before I moved to the city. It's not much, but I do have some saved. I see. Yeah, I know I'm kind of freeloading, staying here for free and even eating on your dime. There's nothing wrong with that. Really? Yeah. You've been making me delicious meals, haven't you? And that's not the only reason. And you even called me out when I went overboard with my hobby. Haha. Hayashi looked down. She still seemed to have more to say. Yamamoto, then tomorrow, let's go to the phone store. Sure. And can you come with me? She glanced up at me, eyes tilted upward. That must have been the part she was hesitating to say earlier. Of course. I planned on it from the start. Hee, thanks. Blushing faintly, she looked away shyly. Section. After finishing my university classes, I rushed home. I'm back. Sorry, I'm a little late. Welcome back. It's okay. Hayashi was watching videos on the tablet. Ever since she got here, she'd been lounging around in a short-sleeved tee and shorts, but today she had a light jacket over her clothes, probably because we were going out. All right. Let's go. Yeah. Naturally, we were heading to the phone shop to get her a new smartphone. Yamamoto, you kinda look like a creep right now, you know. On the way there, I kept glancing around, alert. I was scanning our surroundings in case her ex was lurking nearby. Honestly, I'd never walked through town with this much anxiety before. From the outside, I probably did look like a suspicious person, just like she said. Can you blame me? Imagine if that DV bastard saw us walking together, after I stepped in back then and shut him down in front of everyone. You don't think he'd get the wrong idea. A will be fine. Based on what? I'll just scream my lungs out if it comes to that. Actually, getting the cops involved again might not be such a bad thing. With the still somehow relaxed Hayashi in tow, we eventually arrived at the phone shop. Things went smoothly. She signed the paperwork, and about 30 minutes later she had her phone. Yes. On the way back, she looked genuinely happy. The phone she got was a budget model from a Chinese brand. Glad it worked out. Yeah. Thanks, Yamamoto. I didn't do anything worth thanking. That's not true. She smiled brightly. Honestly, I wanted the same model I had before, but I guess they don't sell it anymore. New smartphones come out every 6 months or so. The one you used back in high school probably isn't even available new anymore. Wow, really? Yeah. Then I remembered something important. The OS is different from your old one, so it might feel awkward at first. But I'm sure you'll get used to it. OS stands for operating system. the software that lets you operate a phone or computer. Generally, smartphones use one of two main OS types. The one Hayashi just bought used a different OS from her old phone. OS. Yeah, operating system. Huh, okay. From her reaction, I could tell she didn't really get it. The phone you had before had tons of accessories, but this one probably won't. Want me to help you look online for stuff? I mean, it's already got a screen protector, so I think I'm good. That's a protective film, yeah. You're not picky about this stuff, huh? I'm kind of hopeless with tech. Really? That caught me off guard. But you were using the tablet I lent you just fine. My friend taught me before, like press here to watch videos, press here to send messages, press here and type when you want to look something up. I just remembered the button shapes. By buttons, does she mean apps? Even old folks these days understand what apps are when they use smartphones. She might be even more of a lost cause than I thought. For now, can you show me how to connect to the internet? You mean Wi-Fi? My sigh. Yeah, that. I gave her a half-hearted answer. I was starting to get tired. Hey, so I got this smartphone to get back in touch with my friends from high school, right? How do I recover my contacts? Right as we were about to reach the apartment, Hayashi asked. Back then, I just gave my phone to my friends and they registered everything for me. What should I do now? Most smartphones have a cloud service for transferring data. If you still know the account, you can restore everything from that. Cloud services let you save data not on your device, but on servers managed by companies over the internet. Why are we suddenly talking about clouds? Called it. You're such a lost cause, you know that. If you're making fun of me, I'll get mad. And now she's back to her queen persona. That was a terrifyingly sharp transition from ditzy. How did you do your last phone transfer? I asked, exasperated. Huh, I asked Akari. You just left it to someone else. Akari, Kasahara Akari, was Hayashi's best friend in high school. Incidentally, Kasahara goes to the same university as me now. Different department, though. What about your password? Akari knows it. Do you even know why passwords exist? Even back in high school, I always thought the two of them were ridiculously close. But from the sound of things, it wasn't just close. It was more like codependent. So you don't remember your account or your password. Are you mocking me? Of course I don't. Do you want me to mock you? After spending these past few days living with her, I've learned a lot. Back in high school, I thought she was just an arrogant queen, but she's surprisingly thoughtful, sisterly, prone to self-doubt, yet still as strong and sharp as ever. Honestly, I even started thinking it might be nice to learn more sides of her. But this complete tech-illiterate side of her? Yeah, this might be the one thing I didn't want to know. While I was sighing, we reached the apartment. I'm home. Hayashi dove straight onto the bed and powered on her new phone. I grabbed some barley tea from the fridge to wet my throat and started preparing 2 glasses. Yamamoto. Whoa. She jumped off the bed and rushed over, set up my phone. Completely relying on me, huh? You've been so reserved with me until now. And yet when it comes to smartphones, you throw that out the window. I can't help it. Last time I tried to use one. Yeah. It turned into a blue screen. Akari looked super pale. Because it was a blue screen, get it? Ahaha, that was a good one. I'll do it. You're a repeat offender. This isn't the time to be cracking jokes, and that wasn't even funny. I just feel bad for Kasahara now. What the hell did she do to get a smartphone into that state? That's terrifying. Whatever. I guess I'll quietly handle the initial setup for her. Done yet. About 20 minutes later, Hayashi called out. At some point, she'd gone and started making dinner. Yeah. Everything's set up, except your contacts. What about those? Despite knowing almost nothing about this stuff, she somehow managed to zero in on the critical issue. Well, since she doesn't know the login for her data backup account, we can't restore it that way. Now then, what to do? Though honestly, I do have one option. But before that, Hayashi, I need to ask you something. There was something I had to confirm first. What is it, all serious now? About your ex. I want to know how you two met. Why do I have to tell you that? Please. I looked her in the eye, sincere. She glanced away, clearly uncomfortable, and let out a deep sigh. A friend from college invited me to a mixer. She was super pumped about it. Said the guys we'd be meeting were elite employees from a big-name bank. That's where I met him. College, huh, so none of your high school friends were involved. What kind of question is that? She glared at me, slightly pissed. Scary. Of course not. Why would you even ask that? I see. I let out a quiet sigh of relief. Hayashi was still glaring at me. WL anyway, if she met that guy through her college friends, then it's unlikely Kasahara had anything to do with him. Hayashi, can I borrow your phone? What for? I'm going to add the contact info of one of your friends, someone I know, into your phone. She tilted her head. Then have them help you recover your other contacts. Ah, I get it. She seemed to understand, but for some reason, her expression darkened. What's wrong? You don't want to. Depends who it is. Despite what she said, her heavy tone clearly meant I really don't. I mean, telling someone you're living with a guy who abused you, and that he smashed your phone, so now you need everyone's contact info again. I don't really want to say that to someone I wasn't even close with. You're not in a position to be picky, are you? Ahem. Looks like she still couldn't make up her mind. Is it that, depending on who it is, it might hurt your pride, so you don't want to ask them? Yeah. Well, Hayashi was once known as the queen. She probably has a fragile kind of pride. Still, I think it'll be fine. Based on what? I'm pretty sure this person's worried about you. Actually, I had spoken with the person I just added to Hayashi's phone. Once, after I took her in. Back then, she had been looking for Hayashi. Of course, I knew where Hayashi was. She was staying in my apartment after all, but I didn't tell her that. At the time, I'd suspected there might be some connection between her and Hayashi's abusive ex. That possibility made me keep quiet, but now, after hearing Hayashi's story, I was sure there was no connection between the two. Here. Ahem. Hayashi took the phone with a reluctant frown, then her eyes widened. Yamamoto. What? How do you have Akari's contact info? The name displayed on the screen was Kasahara Akari, Hayashi's best friend from high school. I knew exactly what she meant. Back then, Hayashi and I were on bad terms. But she and Kasahara were close, uncomfortably close, to the point I don't even want to talk about it. Honestly, that's darker territory than I'm willing to tread. I'd rather get glared at by Hayashi than go there. Basically, from Hayashi's perspective, she figured there was nothing about her best friend that she didn't know. So to discover that I, of all people, had a connection to Kasahara she didn't know about, it must have come as a real shock. Maybe not just shock, maybe even a hint of anger. Don't dig too deep. Under the cold glare she shot at me, I averted my eyes, starting to feel uneasy. Chapter 2, The Daring Queen. I woke up at the usual time and let out a sigh. The day had finally arrived. I couldn't help but feel a little down about it. Ah, why does going to sleep mean waking up in a new day? If only I could open my eyes and it wasn't tomorrow yet. Wait, if I just didn't sleep, maybe tomorrow would never come. Putting that dumb thought aside, I decided to start my usual morning cleaning. Recently, my cleaning had been restricted to 1 hour a day thanks to my live-in partner. Still, I was following that rule properly, which meant, if I started cleaning now, I'd have to stop by the time Hayashi woke up. Wait a minute. If she's still asleep, she can't exactly track my cleaning time, right? That means whatever I do now won't count, right? Better not. She'll kill me if she finds out. Morning. Yo. While I was out cleaning the balcony, Hayashi woke up and called out to me. Ever since she moved in, she always came to find me first thing in the morning, wherever I was cleaning. But Hayashi is not a morning person. Her bed hair was wild. Her eyes stayed shut even while awake. Her steps were so wobbly, it was honestly worrying to watch. Frankly, I wished she'd just stay in bed until she was fully conscious. Seeing her like that stresses me out. I'll make breakfast. Watch out for burns. I'm not a kid, you know. I can handle a little heat. I said be careful. Yawning wide and ignoring my concern, Hayashi shuffled off to the kitchen. Hold it together, will you? Kasahara's coming today, remember. Ugh. That didn't sound like a proper response. It was Saturday, a day off from university. Today, Hayashi's best friend Kasahara was coming over. It all started the day Hayashi got her new smartphone, the day I gave her Kasahara's contact info. She reached out right away. What do you even say in a message like this? She asked me for advice, even though she probably knew I'd be no help. In the end, she just went with a simple, long time no see. It was read almost immediately. Then, a flood of frantic messages started pouring in from Kasahara. I was so worried. Where have you been all this time? Did your old phone break or something? And so on rapid fire, borderline interrogation. Wait, how does Kasahara know her old phone broke? I wondered about that, but the two of them kept chatting, probably a heartwarming reunion. Probably. Hayashi gave her a general update on her situation. She started living with a guy after entering university. That guy turned out to be abusive. She ran away. She's now staying at my place. And thanks to my advice, she got a new phone and is now contacting Kasahara. At first, I watched their chat from the side, with Hayashi's permission, but I quickly lost interest and started watching TV. Yamamoto. I was laughing at a variety show when it came. Huh, Akari's coming the day after tomorrow. Wait, what? Why? And just like that, without so much as asking the guy who owns the apartment, Hayashi had scheduled a reunion. Then I'll head out while you two catch up. That was my first offer. Akari says she wants to thank you, you need to be here. But that got shot down. I don't like this. Why not? Are you sure it's just a thank you? Of course it is. Hayashi brushed it off, but I couldn't believe her for a second. My gut said otherwise. Because just like how Hayashi and I had our share of history back in high school, so did Kasahara and I. A heavy feeling. Pull it together, you're the one who owns this place. And of course, Hayashi only ever calls me the landlord when it's convenient for her. So this is what it feels like to be a manager in name only. Probably not exactly, but still. Section, thanks to the 1 hour per day cleaning rule, I had nothing to do while stuck in the apartment. I figured I'd kill time with some TV, but knowing what was coming made it impossible to focus. You've been restless this whole time. Shut up. Hayashi gave me a look that was way too cold for this early in the day, and I snapped back without thinking. Hey, Yamamoto. What? You know, you. Just as she was about to say something, the doorbell rang. I jumped a little. She's here. Hayashi said it plainly. Yamamoto, can you get the door? Why, you're the one who should answer it. Right. Hayashi stood and went to the entryway. Yes. Meg. Waya. Meg. I was so worried about you. A shrill, familiar voice rang out from the hallway. The moment I heard it, my heart nearly leapt out of my chest. Honestly, I'd been hoping, just a little, that the person at the door was a religious solicitor or something. But there was no mistaking that voice. It was Kasahara. Hold on, Akari, don't just jump on me like that. Meg's Meeg. Eek, Akari, stop it, that tickles. From the entryway, I could hear Kasahara's cheerful voice, along with Hayashi's struggling response as she tried to handle her energy. Hey, Akari, maybe not out here, the neighbors can see. Let's go inside for now, okay? What should I do? What kind of attitude is that? Oh, nothing, I just really worried about you, you know. I told you, I'm sorry about that. So you're apologizing. That means you do think you did something bad to me, right? Yeah, I do. If you think you did something bad, then you'll listen to a little request from me, won't you? What the hell are they doing at someone else's front door? What do you want? Hug me. Can you two please not do that at my front door? Unable to bear the increasingly steamy vibe, I found myself yelling toward the entryway. Crap, that was reflex. I wanted to handle this quietly. As soon as I spoke, the flirty chatter at the door abruptly stopped. Makes sense. If you think you're having a moment and suddenly realize a third wheel was listening the whole time, you're gonna clam up. A moment later, I heard the sound of shoes being taken off. Hello, Yamamoto-kun. Kasahara entered the living room with a cheerful voice, as if the dramatic reunion just now hadn't happened at all. Hey. Geez. Kasahara puffed out her cheeks. W what? Hey isn't much of a greeting, is it? Hello. Yep. That bright smile. Soft and airy on the surface, but with a no-nonsense undercurrent. I looked away. If I kept eye contact, I'd be completely swept into her pace. As I turned my head, my eyes met Hayashi's. What? Nothing. This time she was the one to look away. Barley tea okay? Hayashi asked. Oh, don't go to any trouble. I am going to the trouble, just sit down. Okay. Following her instruction, Kasahara sat down at the low table. There was no conversation between us. Is this the kind of moment where two extroverts could just casually chat and keep it going? Too bad. Kasahara might be an extrovert, but I'm not. Positive times negative equals negative. You haven't changed a bit, Yamamoto-kun. Kasahara gave a wry smile. What do you mean? You just had a full conversation in your head and concluded something, didn't you? Not really. Liar. It was written all over your face. I chose to remain silent. sorry to keep you waiting. Hayashi returned with the barley tea. I'll take care of that. I reached to grab the cups from her. It's fine. She stopped me. 3 glasses were set down on the small table, and Hayashi took her seat. It's really been a while, Meg. Yeah, sorry for making you worry. Then Hayashi seemed to realize something. Wait, Yamamoto, isn't this a reunion for you two? Yep, we go to the same university, remember? We actually talked a bit recently. Hey, now's not really the time to bring that up, is it? I'd purposely not told Hayashi that Kasahara and I had talked recently at school. Why? Because I'd been quietly working behind the scenes to help her, and I didn't want her to know that. I figured Kasahara would pick up on that, but she still said it anyway. Oh, I see. Hayashi's voice dipped slightly. I asked him if he'd seen you around. Right. He said he hadn't. That was just about a week ago, wasn't it? Back then, I had this brief moment where I wondered if you might be connected to the DV guy. I see. This atmosphere feels weird now. So you were looking for me. I really did make you worry. You did. When you suddenly disappeared like that, I was messaging you every day, you know. Sorry, my phone got smashed. Yeah, I know. Yeah, why do you know that? While I recoiled a little, the 2 girls just laughed. Is this supposed to be funny? Then Hayashi began telling her side of the story. Kasahara listened in silence, her earlier smile gradually fading. Hearing the painful experiences her closest friend had gone through, she had no reason to keep smiling. I mean, seriously, if I hadn't run into Yamamoto back then, things might have gotten really bad. At the end, Hayashi even laughed a little, like she'd finally moved past it. Yeah, I'm really glad. Thanks, Yamamoto-kun. Well, I just did what anyone would do. No way, not everyone could have done that. You were amazing, Yamamoto-kun. I didn't say anything in return. Still, I was shocked, you know. Not just the DV part, though that was bad enough, but finding out you were the one sheltering Meg, I never would have guessed. Same here, she had nowhere to go. I'm sure she hated being cooped up in a tiny place like this, but it was the best we could do under the circumstances. I said it with a bit of a grimace. And just then, I noticed a suspicious look from the girl sitting beside me. What? Nothing. I asked Hayashi what that look was about, but she didn't answer. So, what I really want to know is, Meg, are you safe now? Is there no more risk of DV? She won't be abused again. She's made it clear she's not going back to him. But the guy who hurt her hasn't been caught yet. There's still a chance he could try something. I see. Kasahara lowered her eyes. Poor Meg. Hey, I'm not that fragile, okay? But you stayed quiet even when your ex hit you, didn't you? Damn, Kasahara doesn't pull punches. The reason DV situations often escalate is, in part, because the victim ends up enabling the abuser. Of course, that doesn't mean the victim is at fault. But there are always pundits pretending to be experts who spew irresponsible takes like, they should have done more to protect themselves. Kasahara's comment just now was exactly that kind of take. Hayashi looked visibly deflated. Maybe you should stop there, Kasahara. Yeah, sorry, Meg. I didn't mean to pick a fight. Then don't say such awful things. But if I don't say it like that, you might end up going through it all again, right? Because you're really kind, Meg. Kind, huh? How many people from high school would have described Hayashi as kind? At the very least, before we met again, I never would have. That difference in how they see her, it says a lot. Their relationship clearly goes deeper than just ordinary friendship. Can I be honest about something? What? I don't think that guy's going to come after me. Why not? Because he's the kind of guy who really cares about his image. And that's supposed to mean what exactly? I don't think he can even go outside anymore. Because he's being hunted by the police. I chimed in. That might be a little too optimistic. The report was accepted, and the police are officially looking for him. But how seriously they're chasing him, that's another question. With how many worse crimes happen every day, they're probably going to keep putting this on the back burner. That's not what I mean. Huh? I mean his personality. Go on. Like I said, his public image is everything to him. A guy that obsessed with how people see him. You think he'd just stroll around outside when getting spotted would be game over. She had a point. Hayashi's logic actually made sense. So then, Meg, that means you're free to go out now, right? Kasahara beamed. Hayashi had always been an active person, and she probably did wish she could go outside again. But from my perspective, I still thought it was too soon. She should stay in just a bit longer. Let things cool down. Still, if someone asked me how long exactly she should stay inside, I wouldn't be able to give a clear answer. Which basically meant I was just saying, she should stay in here forever, wasn't it? But honestly, since she filed the report, Hayashi had been outside a few times, and nothing happened on any of those occasions. In that case, I could only draw one conclusion. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I said it a bit reluctantly, and just like that, both girls' faces lit up. Awesome, Meg. Yeah, but for now, you should still avoid going out alone. That was the best compromise I could offer. For a while, only go out with me or Kasahara. Okay, got it. Just as the conversation reached a natural pause, Hayashi's stomach growled, probably from the release of all that tension. Looks like someone's hungry. Kasahara smiled as Hayashi blushed. Wanna go eat somewhere? No, I'll cook. Wait, you can cook. Totally, a certain someone trained me. Sounds like you don't want to name that guy. Sharp as always, Kasahara. She was right. Then yeah, I'd love to eat your cooking. Ah, but the fridge is basically empty. Then let's go shopping. Let's do that. You'll need a man's help, right? I'll come too. I stood up to follow after the two girls. At that moment, Hayashi gave me another odd, suspicious look. What? Nothing. She turned away with a pout. I tilted my head, wondering what her deal was, but she gave no indication of explaining it. Still clueless, the three of us headed out together for groceries. Section, hey Meg, what's your specialty dish? Kasahara asked brightly, clearly enjoying herself. On the way to the supermarket, I walked behind the two of them, listening in on their conversation. To the casual observer, I looked like a stalker. Even on a second look, I definitely looked like a stalker. I was completely screwed. Like, can you two not leave me out while you get all giggly together? At this rate, I'm gonna get reported to the cops. Specialty dish? Simmered pumpkin, I guess. Oh wow, and do you remember what my favorite food is? Tsukyudani. Yup. You better feed it to me next time, okay? Ordinarily, you'd expect Hayashi to shut down a request like that. They might be best friends, but they weren't dating. If I saw two girls spoon-feeding each other food like a couple, I'd honestly be taken aback. Okay. I was taken aback. Deeply. What is this? Is this how girl friendships work now? Is feeding each other food supposed to be emotional? Also, their favorite foods are so old school. By the way, Yamamoto's favorite food is hamburger steak. Oh, that's so childish. Shut up. Finally getting a word in, I muttered bitterly. But they ignored me completely, smiling at each other like I wasn't even there. Their faces were oddly close, too. Akari, your face is kind of red. It's nothing. Do you have a fever or something? Should we go back to the apartment? No way, I'd never want that. What the hell is with these two? This isn't how normal best friends act. I knew it, there's something way too deep going on here. You guys sure you're not getting a little too hyped over your reunion? Are we? Not at all. But Yamamoto is saying that, you know. Meg, whose words do you believe more, mine or Yamamoto-kun's? Hayashi paused to think for a second. Then we're not getting hyped. What does that even mean? Faced with Kasahara's choice, Hayashi rejected my doubts without hesitation. It wasn't like her. She seemed unusually playful, even smug. She threw in a subtle smug grin for good measure. Real piece of work, this one. And yet, all she did was side with Kasahara. What's with the ridiculous confidence? Whatever. As long as you're having fun. Probably best not to poke any further. You're so generous, Yamamoto-kun, I might just fall for you again. Kasahara said it with a teasing grin. Lame joke. Trying not to let my pounding heart give me away, I looked away from her. By the way, you two go to the same university, right? But you never talk there. Now that you mention it, not until recently. Right. Yeah, I guess. Well, our majors are different, so we don't run into each other that often. But if you ask whether I never saw her walking around campus, that'd be a lie. Truth is, I intentionally avoided acknowledging her presence. Why? I'd rather not say. I see. The Hayashi I knew in high school would have latched onto something like this and pried the whole story out of me. But this time she didn't. I was thankful for the restraint. Hey, since we're out, why don't we have a takoyaki party for lunch? As soon as we reached the supermarket, Kasahara suggested it. A takoyaki party. In short, it's a social food event used by extroverts to deepen their bonds. I'll pass. Same here. Why not? I feel like it'll turn into something weird. I don't like messing around with food. For once, Hayashi and I were in total agreement. It's fine, we won't mess around. You were the most out of control. One last time we did it with Aiken and the others. This time's different. Meg, trust me. Ahem. Hayashi crossed her arms, thinking. Okay, let's do it. You folded way too fast. Well, Akari did ask me to trust her. You're just a yes man now. That's an unhealthy level of trust. Or maybe she only acts this way with Kasahara. If that's the case, then yeah, this really is a deep, dark rabbit hole. We don't have a takoyaki maker at our place, though. I may have been outvoted, but I still had a legitimate reason to shut the plan down. Yeah, I'm not really in the mood to go buy equipment. Let's skip it then. Oh, I'll go grab mine from home. It's close by. Really, thanks. Hayashi clapped her hands together and added. Then while you're grabbing it, we'll handle the shopping, okay? Hey, in that case, why don't we just do the party at my place? Oh, that works. What does that even mean? I couldn't help but butt in. What's your deal? I mean, come on. Inviting a guy into your place just like that, isn't that kinda risky? You think so? I know so. Even as I said it, a certain thought flickered through my mind. Do you usually have guys over? Hi. Kasahara looked genuinely surprised for a moment, then she gave me a teasing smile. What do you think? I fell silent. Kasahara was cute. She'd been living on her own for a few months now as a college student. It's hard to imagine she hasn't made any close guy friends in that time. Besides, the fact that she owns a takoyaki maker means she's definitely had people over before. But really, that's not the point. What silenced me wasn't the topic itself, it was that I felt gross for digging into her personal life like that. Hee hee. Kasahara gave me a sly little smile. I don't let guys in. Just my girlfriends. Got it. And there it was again, she totally got me. A moment ago, I felt like I was being creepy, and now I was relieved by her answer. What the hell is wrong with me? Let's just finish shopping. I sighed, clearly exhausted. Yeah, good idea, so we'll have the party at my place, right? Do whatever you want. And with that, we each grabbed a shopping basket and stepped into the supermarket. Chapter 3. The Changing Queen. When I was a first year in high school, I had a crush on a second year and the ace of the tennis team, Sekain Senpai. Senpai stood out even among the tennis club for his talent and achievements, and he had a handsome, androgynous face. I admired him, and before I realized it, that admiration had turned into love. Whenever I had the chance, I would watch Sekain Senpai. For example, if the second years had PE during our class time, I'd stare out the window, ignoring the lesson, just to see if he was out there. It was obvious to everyone around me how I felt. Meg just confessed to him already. My friend Ishida, Aiken, said that to me more times than I could count. At first, though, I never intended to confess to Sekain Senpai. I was afraid of getting rejected, both for the sake of my queenly reputation and my girlish pride. But then I saw something. I like you, Sekain Senpai. A girl was confessing her feelings to him. She looked so cool. Even though she had no idea if her feelings would be returned, she still poured her heart out. I didn't want to lose. I felt a spark of rivalry toward that nameless girl. Not long after that, I made up my mind I would tell Sekain Senpai how I felt. I started thinking about the perfect opportunity to confess. How about during the after-party for the culture festival? During preparations for the festival, Aiken gave me that suggestion. At my school, after the culture festival ends, there's an after-party hosted by the festival committee. They hold a campfire. It's the grand finale of the fun-filled event. According to my friends, it's not uncommon for students to confess to their crushes during that event. Probably for the same reason I was considering it, to use the festive atmosphere as a boost and maybe increase the chance of getting a yes. Honestly, it seemed like a good plan. If I confessed during the campfire, maybe the mood would sway him a little. And even if I failed, I could brush it off as getting caught up in the moment. The day of the festival came, and it was perfectly clear, blue skies without a single cloud. It was surprisingly hot for fall, so much so that Class 3-2, which was selling shaved ice, ended up winning the sales contest. As the after-party approached, I passed by a group of girls in the hallway. With this weather, we'll be able to do the after-party. Yeah, last year it got canceled because of rain. They chatted cheerfully as they walked by. I wonder who's going to confess to whom this year. I thought they were being nosy. But honestly, if I hadn't been planning to confess myself, I'd probably have been thinking the same thing. After the festival's closing ceremony ended, it was about time for preparations for the after-party to start. I waited in the classroom with my friends for it to begin. From my seat, I looked out at the schoolyard like always. Something felt off. The schedule said the after-party should be starting soon, but there was no wood set up for the campfire. That's odd, I thought vaguely, right as the PA system crackled to life. This is an announcement from the Culture Festival Committee. The noisy classroom quieted down. Everyone turned their attention to the speaker. This year's after-party has been canceled. I repeat, this year's after-party has been canceled. What? My voice was drowned out by the loud gasps and groans that echoed not just in my classroom, but throughout the entire school. It wasn't like it had suddenly started raining. The forecast hadn't mentioned anything about rain either. It was too sudden, too one-sided. Just like that, my chance to confess to Second Senpai was taken away. Yamamoto. The next morning, I took my anger out on Yamamoto, our class representative on the festival committee. Throughout all 3 years of high school, Yamamoto and I had always been in the same class. He was on the Culture Festival Committee during our first and third years. Thinking back, that was probably the first real conversation I ever had with him. But thanks to what happened with the after-party, my impression of Yamamoto was already at rock bottom. He was walking ahead of me when he stopped and slowly turned around. What? Yesterday, why was the after-party canceled? We forgot to order the wood. It was so blunt and matter-of-fact, it momentarily diffused my anger. A failure to order the wood? That's such a basic mistake. As I processed his words, frustration began to bubble up inside me again. How could you screw up something that basic? My voice echoed down the hall, and soon classmates, no, even students from nearby classes, began to gather. They were probably all frustrated about the canceled after-party too. And there we were, in the middle of a timely confrontation. Everyone was looking for answers. They wanted a reason that made sense. I'm sorry. Instead of explaining, Yamamoto simply said that. It was an admission of fault, an apology. Saying sorry doesn't fix anything. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. He just kept repeating his apology for the committee's sloppy work. If you're going to apologize that much, don't make the mistake in the first place, I thought. We didn't want your apology, we wanted our after-party back. Of course, I knew that was impossible. I knew what Yamamoto took from us couldn't be undone. That's why I came to think of Yamamoto as a careless guy. And that's why I started to dislike him. Section. As I walked through the supermarket shopping, I found myself remembering the reason I came to dislike Yamamoto in the first place. Why was I suddenly thinking about this now, of all times? Looking back, ever since I ran into Yamamoto again, I had been overwhelmed just trying to keep myself together. Before we reconnected, I had been in a really dark place. Pushed to the edge by domestic abuse, spiraling into self-destructive behavior, I just didn't have the mental space for anything else. But after reuniting with my best friend Akari and chatting with her like old times, I started to feel a bit more relaxed, and that must have let those old memories resurface. As I thought back on that time, one thing struck me. I was seriously lame back then. I'd said to Yamamoto, this isn't something an apology can fix. But was it really something that couldn't be fixed with an apology? Probably not at all. It's been nearly 3 years since that whole wood ordering failure, incident, and really, how many of the students from back then still remember Yamamoto's mistake? How many are still angry about it? In the end, it was nothing more than that. No one dies from a mistake. I remembered Yamamoto saying that. Maybe those words came from what he learned from the festival mess. Looking back now, I realized how ridiculous I had been. Getting all worked up over such a small mistake and cutting Yamamoto off like that, it was petty. And yeah, I felt bad about it. Yamamoto's just human. A mistake like that really isn't a big deal. And it's not just that. If the roles had been reversed, would I have been able to apologize the way he did, without excuses? Would I have been able to admit I was wrong and bow my head? No way. If it had been me, I probably would have started shifting the blame. There were other people on the festival committee besides Yamamoto. I'd definitely have said something like, they're just as guilty as I am. But Yamamoto didn't say that. Maybe that's where his integrity showed. Still, for someone as uptight and fussy as Yamamoto, that kind of careless mistake really was unexpected. But now, I think I could laugh it off. I think I could accept that as just one part of who Yamamoto is. Living together like this, I want to know more about him. That's what I told him at the convenience store when we reunited. It's only been a few days, but I've got to see so many different sides of Yamamoto. And yet I also realized there's still so much I don't know about him. I want to know more. I don't even know why I feel that way, but I do, and there's no helping it now. Maybe. Maybe it's because I want to clearly, definitively get to know Yamamoto again. What should we put inside the takoyaki? And right now, something about Yamamoto felt off. It's takoyaki, right? So octopus. Ahead of me, Yamamoto and Akari were walking together. Tusk, tusk, tusk. That's naive, Yamamoto-kun. The most common takoyaki filling is actually sausage. Then that's not takoyaki anymore. That's sausage-yaki. The two of them were chatting cheerfully, looking like they were really getting along. Yeah, I knew it. Since when, though? Probably right. Probably since the moment he gave me Akari's contact info. That's when things started to feel off with Yamamoto. No, wait. It's not that he's acting strange, it's more like, it's not sausage-yaki, it's takoyaki, okay. When did the definition of takoyaki get so loose? Come on, Yamamoto-kun. This is the age of diversity. Well, I guess you're not wrong. It's the way he acts toward Akari that feels different. Normally, he nitpicks every little thing like some nosy mother-in-law. But with her, he takes a step back. It's like he's aware of her, like he sees her as a girl. Right now, he looks like some awkward guy trying not to show his uncool side to a girl he likes. It was weird from the start. I should have realized it when he said he had Akari's contact info. I mean, this is Yamamoto we're talking about. The guy who used to say university is a place for studying and never even tried to make friends. And he has Akari's contact info. That makes no sense. Are you really sure about that? Yamamoto-kun, you're so stubborn, harder than a diamond. Diamonds are actually kind of brittle, you know. They were still bickering about takoyaki fillings earlier, but now Yamamoto seemed glued to Akari's phone screen, maybe still not quite believing her. So that's what's trending these days, huh? Yups, hee. What? You know, Yamamoto-kun, you're always so rigid, but show you a random internet article and you fold right away. Happy. I'm weak to anything with evidence. Yamamoto grinned proudly. Ahaha, I seriously have no idea what you're talking about. They were just chatting like normal. When it's just the two of us, Yamamoto always looks uncomfortable. But with Akari, he can make a face like that. All right then, let's just grab anything that looks like it could work as a filling. Okay, I'll check that side, so you two handle the other. Hi. Before Akari could stop him, Yamamoto was already walking away. Akari stood there stunned for a moment before letting out a laugh. Haha, Yamamoto-kun really hasn't changed at all, has he? She looked at me with an exasperated smile. Hasn't changed. Yeah, he's been the same since high school. Since high school, back when I tried to avoid Yamamoto as much as I could, back when I hated him, so that's how it is, while I was busy hating him. While I was keeping my distance, Akari was growing closer to him. Suddenly, I became aware of a feeling starting to stir inside me. No, I can't feel this. I'm not allowed to feel this way. Because Akari was my best friend in high school, and Yamamoto, I owe him so much. Even if you fail, it's not the end of the world. When I was struggling, if you don't make the decision, then none of this means anything. When I was falling apart, you're the same, aren't you? You didn't do anything for her either. How many times? In just a few days, how many times did Yamamoto save me? That's right, I'm not allowed to feel this way. I can't let myself feel this way about Yamamoto and Akari. No, rather yes, hey Akari. What is it, Meg? What do you think about Yamamoto? If anything, I need to be the one supporting Yamamoto now. He probably likes Akari. He probably likes her as a woman. Now that I've realized Yamamoto's hidden feelings, there's only one thing for me to do. Just like he supported me, now it's my turn to support him. I'll be the one to bring Yamamoto and Akari together. When I asked, Akari looked a bit taken aback. Thinking back, it might have been the first time I'd ever seen her with that expression. She always gave off a soft, floaty vibe, but I'd always thought she was the type who had a lot going on beneath the surface, things I couldn't even imagine. That's why it was so surprising to see her like this. To see her hesitating like this, it had never happened before. We became friends in our second year of high school. In our first year, we were in different classes. We first became classmates in second year, and from then on, we were best friends. We talked about love all the time. But thinking back, whenever we talked about romance, Akari always dodged the topic. This might be the first time I've ever directly asked her what she felt about someone in particular. Akari. Sorry. She seemed genuinely flustered by my question. It really might have been the first time I've seen her like this since we met. Something wrong. No, it's nothing. That's a lie. That's definitely a lie. If it were really nothing, then act normal like always. Smile like you always do and say, "You're my friend." He's kind of a pain to deal with, isn't he? Akari said, "Yeah, I guess so." Yamamoto is a pain. He's picky and stubborn. The kind of guy who will buy cleaning supplies and always write a review, never giving 5 stars. He says giving 5 stars makes companies complacent. He says it so casually it's infuriating. He's been annoying for years. It wouldn't be surprising if Akari made a face at that. Honestly, he's just that nitpicky and annoying. But I'd prefer if you didn't speak too harshly about Yamamoto. That was unnecessary. I immediately regretted saying it. What Akari said was true. And yet I got irritated just because she criticized him a little. Sorry. It's okay. A tense silence hung in the air. When was the last time things felt awkward between Akari and me? Maybe this is the first time. Meg, let's go check over there. Okay. Akari took my hand, and we started walking through the supermarket. That got awkward fast. I should reset. Right now, I just want to enjoy being with Akari again. She seems to feel the same way. As I regained my composure, a girl passed by us. We were in a supermarket. Naturally, most people's eyes are on the shelves, so I only glanced at the girl for a second. Just a moment, but I furrowed my brow. That girl, have I seen her somewhere before? Maybe I'm imagining it. Is her? A voice came from behind me. I didn't turn around. It was a woman's voice, but not necessarily the girl from earlier. And even if it was, she might not be talking to me. But then, quick footsteps approached. Excuse me. Someone grabbed my arm. There was no pain, just surprise. Even if there were signs leading up to it, I never expected someone to call out to me in a place like this. Who are you? Akari's voice was clearly laced with caution. Hayashi-san. The girl who had grabbed my arm had long brown hair, wore earrings, and looked like a college student who just started getting into the party scene. If she knew my name, then she must be someone I'd met before. Now that I thought about it, I did feel like I recognized her face for a moment earlier. But where had we met? If it were in high school, she probably would have said something to Akari too. Before that, middle school? No, this is Tokyo. And if I think about why I'm in Tokyo now, it's more likely she's someone I met in college. Did I know anyone like this? It's me, it's me. She smiled brightly. We were in the same department, Miyachi. Miyachi. The name definitely rang a bell. And I remembered the face of the girl who used to go by that name. In my mind, I compared the girl standing in front of me now with the Miyachi I had known during university. What? I blurted out louder than I intended. Back then, Miyachi had short black hair. She once told me she'd qualified for the inter-high school track meet in the 100-meter sprint. At the very least, she never dressed this flashy. Geez, I knew it was you right away, you know. Haha, sorry. You've changed so much, Miyachi-san. I gave an awkward laugh and scratched my head. Akari looked at me with mild surprise. I could tell what she was thinking. Back in high school, I never acted so ingratiating toward others. To Akari, who probably understood me better than anyone back then, I must have looked like a completely different person. You got a boyfriend or something. When I jumped to the conclusion, Miyachi-san just laughed. Haha, it's nothing like that, just a rebound from quitting track. Come to think of it, during lunch in college, she used to complain about how rough her high school club was. They say once you're freed from a strict environment, it's easy to let loose, and I guess she was no exception. To be honest, I wasn't really that interested. Never thought I'd run into you again like this, Hayashi-san. So, how are things going with your boyfriend? Haha. I gave a dry laugh. Come to think of it, Miyachi-san had also been at the group date where I met him. I'd hoped that fact alone would make her realize, but from the look on her carefree smile, it clearly didn't. We broke up. I gave in and said it plainly. What? A lot happened. But I didn't mention the DV. Miyachi-san was probably still in college, and I didn't want my current situation getting passed around to others there. It wasn't about not wanting her to feel guilty for introducing me to him or anything like that. It was more, I just wanted to protect my pride. So you're working part-time now, Hayashi-san. Well, that pride had long since crumbled. A girl who dropped out of college to live with a guy and then broke up with him, that's all there was to it. Yeah, something like that. Of course, I couldn't say the truth, that I was just freeloading at a guy's place, someone I used to go to high school with. A creeping sense of discomfort began to settle in my chest. I really want to end this conversation already. Akari, maybe because she didn't know Miyachi, seemed hesitant to jump in. There's one guy I know who would barge in and throw the whole mood off without reading the room, but unfortunately, Yamamoto was nowhere in sight. This sucks. You know, I actually regret it. Ignoring my desire to cut the conversation short, Miyachi-san looked down as she spoke. Regret what? My relationship with you, Hayashi-san. Come on, we weren't even that close. There's nothing for you to regret. I almost said it but stopped myself. There was no need to hurt her over something pointless. If we'd spent a little more time together, I think we could have become much closer. You think so? I do. Miyachi said it with certainty. That's why I regret it. When I heard you were dropping out of college, I wondered why I didn't try to stop you. That made me pause. Even if she had told me not to quit back then, I don't think it would have changed anything. The reason was simple. It wasn't like we had a close enough relationship that her opinion would have swayed my decision. So honestly, there was no reason for her to feel any regret. Still, I found myself imagining it. What would have happened if I hadn't dropped out of college back then? If that had been the case? At the very least, I wouldn't have ended up living with a man who turned out to be abusive. Maybe we would have dated briefly, but I would have seen his true nature and broken up. But if I hadn't dropped out, if back then Miyachi had told me not to and I had listened. I'm sorry. Miyachi apologized to me. Don't. I gave a weak smile. I couldn't help it. Her actions. Her apology. It was just so unnecessary, I couldn't help but think that. Thank you. Before I realized it, I was saying those words. I saw Miyachi's expression twist for a moment. Sorry, I didn't mean that sarcastically. It's just, I genuinely thought. Thank you for not stopping me back then. I met him, I dropped out of college, and yeah, I lost everything once. I went through a lot of pain. But there were good things too. If I'd stayed in college and compared that life to the one I have now. Which would have been happier, which would have been more miserable, I don't know. But right now, I'm happy, you know. I smiled, so don't regret it, don't apologize. Hayashi-san, if you still feel guilty, then be my friend again. But, you know something. A certain someone's face crossed my mind. People, they mess up over and over again in life. With work, with housework, with dropping out of college without thinking. I gave a bitter smile. But no matter how badly you screw up, no matter how crushed you feel afterward, you don't die from it. That's the level of our so-called failures. Miyachi looked straight at me. That's why you just start over. That's all there is to it. I reached out my hand to her. She hesitated for a second, but after a short pause, she took my hand. Hayashi-san, what is it? You've really changed. Have I? Yeah, you're completely different from before. You think so? I do. She continued. Because now, just like you said earlier, you really do seem happy. I see. Do I really look that happy? Should we exchange contact info? Miyachi smiled as she suggested it. I live around here, so I'll reach out sometime. Oh, so she lives nearby. That must be tough being so far from campus. Okay. Sure. Let's hang out sometime, to celebrate being friends again. Can I think about that? What, why? It's just money's a bit tight. Haha, got it. The truth was, I was afraid of being targeted for revenge by my ex. I couldn't say it, but that's why I avoided going anywhere with just one or two people. Still, I felt like one day, I'd be able to tell Miyachi the truth, because she had genuinely regretted not stopping me when I left college, blaming herself for it. Someone that kind, someone that gentle, I really believe we can become true friends someday. See you then. Yeah, see you. Miyachi walked off. A thought crossed my mind. Come to think of it, when I dropped out of college, I never really said goodbye to anyone there. No farewells, I just drifted away until now. Maybe this moment, being able to say, see you again, offered her a little bit of peace. Maybe it helped ease the heart of someone who'd worried about me. I hope it did, because I don't want to regret anything anymore. I don't want to make anyone else regret either. Hey Zakari. What? Do you think of me as a friend? Of course, I think of you as my best friend. Thanks, I feel the same. I lowered my gaze. Hey Akari. What? Do you want me to regret anything? Of course not. Akari smiled. What about you, Meg? Me neither. I smiled wryly. I don't want you to have regrets either. I don't want any of my friends to carry regrets. My friends, Miyachi, Akari. But I'd prefer if you didn't speak too harshly about Yamamoto. Now I get it. Now I understand why I snapped earlier when Akari talked about him. Why her honest opinion made me feel like she was insulting Yamamoto, and why it irritated me so much. Yamamoto and I probably aren't best friends. We might not even be friends at all. It's more awkward than that. More calculated, but he's important. He's incredibly important to me. Yamamoto is. Yamamoto is someone I treasure, and I don't want him. Even Yamamoto, who means so much to me, I don't want him to have regrets either. Sorry, did I keep you waiting? Yamamoto came back, holding a basket full of groceries. You two didn't pick out anything at all, huh? He looked exasperated. Sorry, I just happened to run into an old friend. Total coincidence. A friend. Yeah. Ahem. You sure bought a lot, Yamamoto-kun. Akari looked at him, half amused, half incredulous. All of these just seemed interesting, like this one, and this one, and this one too, and before I knew it, the basket was packed. Weird, right, Gahaha? You're obsessive. Akari said coldly. Fine, but you're eating whatever we can't finish, okay? Huh. Obviously, we're delicate girls, you know, we don't eat much. Delicate? What is it? It's nothing. For a while, the three of us focused on picking ingredients for the takoyaki party. We put back the things Yamamoto had gone overboard with, then headed toward the register. Sorry, I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick. While we were waiting in line, Akari stepped away from us. Hey Yamamoto. You like Akari, don't you? Yamamoto didn't answer, but the atmosphere around him shifted. Bingo, Yamamoto. I pressed on. I'll support you with everything I've got. So do your best, okay? Judging from what Akari said earlier, Yamamoto probably isn't that well liked by her right now. Love doesn't go anywhere unless the other person feels the same way. That's why I decided I'd step in and help bridge the gap between them. Because I wanted Yamamoto's feelings to be rewarded. And I wanted Akari to see what a good guy he really is, to know that the person who helped me back then is someone worth noticing. The line moved forward. The person in front of us stepped ahead a few paces, but Yamamoto didn't move to fill the space right away. Should we move forward? Just as I thought that. Hayashi. Yamamoto finally spoke. Yeah. Don't get too involved. He said it in a quiet, almost whisper-like voice. Too involved, huh? I guess from Yamamoto's perspective, my concern was a nuisance. I wasn't shocked. I kind of expected he might feel that way. Sorry. I apologized to him, but I'm not backing off. After I said that, Yamamoto went quiet again. Chapter 4. The Unruly Queen. As I watched Hayashi and Kasahara walking ahead, I let out a quiet sigh, feeling a bit dejected. We were on our way to Kasahara's apartment for a takoyaki party. Come to think of it, this was actually my first time going to a friend's place for a party. At first, I was even a little excited about the whole thing, but thanks to something Hayashi said at the supermarket, that feeling had vanished completely. Honestly, I felt like this was turning into a pain. That Hayashi, sticking her nose where it doesn't belong again. You like Akari, don't you? Did I really let my feelings for Kasahara show that much? This is seriously getting annoying. I never thought Hayashi's meddling big sister side would be directed at me now of all times. She's totally going to pull something during the takoyaki party. I glared at Hayashi walking ahead, trying to will her to don't do anything weird. Don't do anything weird. Maybe my psychic glare worked. Hayashi turned around to look at me. Didn't think our eyes would actually meet. But hey, that works out. I mouthed the words to her. Don't do anything weird. Hayashi looked confused for a moment, then seemed to get some kind of idea. Then, careful not to let Kasahara see, she flashed me a thumbs up. This is bad. She didn't get the message at all. If she really understood my request to shut down her plan from the supermarket, there's no way she'd smile like that. And no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe even Hayashi finally got the message. Right. Hey, you got it right. Huh, Hayashi started silently mouthing something back. Huh, who? Leave it to me. She didn't get my message at all in the first place. What the hell does she think I just asked her to do? We're here, she said before I could stop her rampage. We'd already arrived at Kasahara's place. Her apartment was about a 30-minute walk from my place. By train, it would have been about 2 stops away. A reinforced concrete building with autolock security. Nice place, I blurted out, forgetting all my squabbles with Hayashi for a moment. My parents told me to find a place with autolock. We picked it together. Really? How old is the building? I don't know. Oh, I see. You didn't check the age of the building? I thought, but figured saying that would kill the mood in this already awkward dynamic, so I just let it slide. Well, I guess most girls wouldn't really care about that kind of thing. You should at least check the building's age, Hayashi suddenly chimed in. Huh, really? As long as it's livable, isn't that fine? Not at all. Just the age alone can affect rent prices a lot. On the other hand, the older the building, the more questionable the earthquake resistance. You should at least have a clear line of what you're okay with. Meg, you're so knowledgeable. Kasahara's eyes sparkled. She's always been like that since high school, totally on board with whatever Hayashi says. Honestly, it's kinda cultish and scary. Still, I didn't expect that from Hayashi. I figured she wouldn't care about things like building age at all. Well, my parents didn't give me a single yen for rent. I had to research everything myself. So it's about money. Well, that explains it. Come to think of it, she does show signs of thriftiness now and then, and she's pretty hands-on with housework too. You're seriously like someone's mom. Shut it, Yamamoto. I got scolded. Once she unlocked the autolock and we passed through the entrance, we headed for the elevator. What floor? I stood in front of the buttons and asked Kasahara. Second floor. By the way, in terms of manners, the lowest-ranked person in a group is supposed to stand by the buttons in the elevator. In other words, the spot I was standing in. It makes it look like I'm the lowest-ranked out of the 3 of us, and unfortunately, that's not wrong. Sad, but true. Thanks, Yamamoto-kun. Kasahara thanked me as I held the open button. Hayashi also showed her appreciation. For Hayashi, me is like the highest form of gratitude. Probably, who knows? This is my place, Kasahara said, guiding us to the corner room on the 2nd floor. Come on in. Thanks for having me. A Tokyo apartment with autolock. Layout-wise, it's a 1K judging by the condition. I'd estimate it was built within the last 10 years. After walking about 30 minutes from my place, I realized the nearest station was on a train line that goes straight to a major hub. Rent somewhere around 80,000 to 90,000 yen. Hey, Meg, how'd you know? I'd guessed pretty much the same. You often hear stories about how parents want their daughters living alone to have autolock security, but still, she's living in a really nice place. How about it, Yamamoto? Suddenly, Hayashi elbowed me in the side. Akari's family looks pretty loaded, huh? She was smirking. Was this her way of helping with the whole support Yamamoto and Kasahara plan she mentioned earlier? That's your first move? Not a word about Kasahara's personality. Your lead-off compliment is her parents' financial status. I mean, fine, whatever, but as my best friend, surely you could have come up with something else to praise. As I silently threw shade at her in my head, I noticed Kasahara's eyes on me. What? I told you earlier, right? You're the first boy I've ever invited into this apartment. So, that makes you my first again, Yamamoto-kun. You're saying weird stuff again. I tried to sound exasperated, but inside, my heart was racing. I really am such a simple guy. When I glanced over, I saw Hayashi giving me the same smirk Kasahara had. This is uncomfortable. I want to go home. All right, let's get started. Okay. Even if I wanted to leave, we'd come here for a takoyaki party. That was the main event. Everything until now had just been the lead-up. And here I am, feeling bloated even before we've eaten a single takoyaki. Akari, I'm borrowing your kitchen. Ah, Meg, me too. What for? You're doing prep, right? You're gonna help. Nope. I'm gonna flirt with you. Isn't that gonna get in the way? Nope. Well, in that case, I guess I'll allow it. Yay. So flirting doesn't count as getting in the way during prep. Want me to help with that too? I asked as the lowly member of the group. You know, just doing my part. Yamamoto-kun. What now? Could you not get in the way of me and Meg? That smile of hers made no sense. Fine, I'll get the takoyaki plate ready. Oh yeah, could you? That'd help a lot. Where is it? Maybe in the closet. Got it. I casually opened the closet in the direction she pointed, and immediately froze. I mean, obviously, right? The closet was packed with clothes. Clothes that Kasahara had actually worn. Even though I didn't see anything like underwear, I reflexively shut the door. Why did that feel so wrong? I'd been trying not to think about it, but it hit me all over again. This wasn't my room. It was Kasahara's. Now that I was paying attention, even the air smelled different from my place. It had a light citrus scent. Actually, come to think of it, when she walked beside me earlier, she smelled like that too. Perfume, maybe? Did she even wear perfume back in high school? Hayashi totally did. But Kasahara, no, I think she only ever smelled like fabric softener. It was banned by school rules anyway. So she must have started after entering university, one of those college makeover things. God, I'm being creepy. Did you find the takoyaki plate, Yamamoto-kun? No idea. Well, yeah, you didn't even open it. Kasahara looked unimpressed. Come on, actually try looking for it. Like this is my fault. Well, I guess it is kind of my fault for freaking out over nothing. Yamamoto-kun. Her tone dropped slightly. What? I'm not falling for your little scheme, okay. Scheme. Pretending you can't find the takoyaki plate, just so Meg will help you look. Nice try. That's so not what I was doing. Wow, that was a ridiculous misunderstanding. I'm never giving up my spot next to Meg. You're way too into Hayashi. Looking smug, as if she'd just declared a proud victory, Kasahara turned back to the kitchen. Well, if she's satisfied, then fine. With a sigh, I reopened the closet and began my search for the takoyaki plate. Took just a few minutes to find the thing. Kasahara found it. Nice. Can you set it up for us? Sure. I took the plate out of the box and placed it on the table in the center of the living room. Then, I efficiently hooked up all the cords and got everything ready. After that, I had nothing left to do. All done. Really? Wow, Yamamoto-kun, you're really efficient. Well, it is Yamamoto we're talking about. Wow, they're perfectly in sync when it comes to teasing me. Okay, Yamamoto-kun, just wait there. Seriously. She wanted me to just sit there, alone, in the living room of a girl's apartment. That girl being Kasahara? What kind of monster says something so cruel? I already feel totally out of place here, and now this. If she keeps this up, I'm seriously gonna leave. Just a little longer, okay? Hang in there. Make it quick. Soothed by Kasahara's gentle tone, I resigned myself to fiddling with my phone while I waited for the two of them to finish. Thanks for waiting. In about 10 minutes, they'd finished the prep and came into the living room. Sorry for not helping. No, if anything, thank you. Right, Meg? Hi. You have to say thank you, Meg. Do I? Actually, it's fine if you don't, I offered. See. He said it's fine. Meg, whose words do you trust more, mine or Yamamoto-kun's? Kasahara stared at Hayashi with an oddly serious look. Then, looking a little unsure, Hayashi bowed her head slightly. Thanks, Yamamoto. Do I really have to go along with this comedy skit? Kasahara looked way too pleased with herself. Still, Akari, I didn't know you were so bad at cooking. I had to show you every step. Yeah, I'm pretty hopeless. Kasahara replied with a blissful expression. You totally faked that, didn't you? You wanted to flirt with Hayashi that badly? Maybe it's been a while and you were craving some affection, or some kind of energy you can only absorb from her. Well then, let's get started. At Hayashi's cue, our takoyaki party officially began. Well, I say party, but food-wise it was just takoyaki. And since we're all underage, drinks were limited to soda or tea. A bit too modest to really call it a party. Ah, Akari, that's the cheese I was raising. Meg's cheese is tasty. Still, seeing how much fun these two were having, I realized that the essence of a party isn't in the food or drinks. It's in the mood. Trying to frame Kasahara's chaos as some kind of heartwarming anecdote, is that working? Also, can you raise cheese? Can't you show a little self-control? Nope. Nope, huh? Well, if that's the case, it's not okay. Or so I thought, but maybe Kasahara going wild like this is a good thing. I recalled what Hayashi had mouthed to me earlier. She's probably devising all sorts of sneaky strategies even now, trying to push Kasahara and me together. Classic busybody behavior. But while Kasahara is in this mode, Hayashi can't really do anything obvious. It'd look too weird. Maybe Kasahara suspects Hayashi is planning something and is playing the fool to throw her off. If so, well played. That Kasahara, what a schemer. This is so good, Meg's Mentaiko is amazing. Yeah, no, that's definitely not the case. Sigh. I let out a deep breath as Kasahara devoured the takoyaki she snatched from Hayashi's plate. Oh hey, these cucumbers are actually pretty good. Anyway, as long as Kasahara is the one goofing off, nothing weird is likely to happen. Might as well let her have her fun. With one worry off my chest, my appetite kicked in. I reached for a takoyaki. This one had salmon flakes. Kasahara had insisted we buy a bunch of random ingredients at the supermarket. I had my doubts, but this might have actually been a neat idea. Hey Meg, wanna feed each other next? Akari, can you maybe calm down a little? I mean, Yamamoto's here too, you know. Isn't it kinda embarrassing? No way, don't do this. Kasahara, that's part of Hayashi's plan. She's trying to get you to calm down so she can make us do something weird instead. You're right, maybe I've been acting a little too crazy. And no, wait, Kasahara, please, I'm begging you. Think this through, think carefully and realize this is not the time to calm down. Yeah, I can't calm down after all. Thank you, I knew you had it in you, Kasahara. Hayashi was flustered, scrambling to keep up. Even Hayashi couldn't control Kasahara in this state. Heck, not so easy, huh? Now that Kasahara's tossed aside her shame and inhibitions, no one can stop her. Then, how about this? Hayashi said, panicking. Let's make it a penalty game. A penalty game. Yeah, we play rock, paper, scissors, and the loser has to feed the winner with an ah. Like ah. Sounds great. Man, Kasahara really is easy to steer. Right. I knew you'd be on board. Well, whatever. Let them do what they want. I'll just sit here and quietly enjoy the takoyaki I made with pickled ginger. Let's include Yamamoto too. The pickled ginger ball I'd been holding slipped right off my chopsticks. Yamamoto-kun too. Damn it, Hayashi, she's actually doing it. Cut me some slack here. I don't want any part in this pink, lovey-dovey atmosphere. But maybe Yamamoto-kun doesn't want to. Damn right. I'd rather die. Isn't rather die a bit much? Yeah, okay. Saying I'd die was overkill, but I'd really rather be anywhere else. Why though? You've got two young, cute girls here, and you get to do an ah or be awed at. That's like the best position to be in. That depends on the person. Guys like me, stoic types, can't handle that stuff. More like chicken, not stoic. You got no comeback for that. But are we really gonna rope someone in who clearly doesn't want to? Why not? I mean, this is a party. Gotta go with the vibe. Doing something the other person hates, but justifying it with it's the vibe. That's exactly how bullies think. Having lived with her for a few days, I'd learned that Hayashi is surprisingly considerate of others' feelings. But clearly not today. The way she's spouting this nonsense makes it obvious, deep down, she's panicking. Kasahara going off the rails has made it clear that her plan's not working, and she's desperate. Still though. Fine. Hayashi suddenly stood up. We're doing it. I said it's a penalty game, so we're doing it. She sounded like a kid about to throw a tantrum, practically stomping her foot. I was speechless. Same for Kasahara and Hayashi. You guys, your personalities are falling apart. Whatever, do what you want. I muttered, shoulders slumping. Really? Do what you want. Yale. Hayashi cheered and turned to Kasahara. Well, if Yamamoto-kun's okay with it, then fine. Kasahara didn't sound thrilled, but she agreed. All right, let's do this. Ready? Okay. Why do you both sound so unmotivated? Well, I'm just plain not into this. But what about Kasahara? Is it that she doesn't want to do an ah thing with me? And no, probably not. She just wanted to be alone and flirty with Hayashi, and now some third wheel ruined the vibe. In other words, I'm the intruder here. Okay, let's go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. The result? I threw rock. Hayashi and Kasahara both threw scissors. Yae, Yamamoto's the one getting odd. Hey. It's a penalty game, so you have to go along. Why do I have to do a penalty? when I won rock, paper, scissors. All right, your turn, Akari. Okay. Then the two of them faced off for the next round. The result: Hayashi, scissors, Kasahara, rock. Meg lost. Hayashi's eyes went wide, like she hadn't even considered the possibility of losing. Then again, rock, paper, scissors is pure luck, but maybe she really didn't think she'd be the one stuck with the punishment. No way. So you really didn't consider this, huh? W8, wait a second. There's gotta be some mistake. What kind of mistake? Well, I mean, it's just luck. Yeah, that's the whole point of the game. No way, I have to do it, me. Looks that way. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Hayashi muttered. What was it supposed to be then? Kasahara laughed as she asked. Well, Hayashi trailed off, sweat trickling down her forehead as she looked away from Kasahara. It's nothing. Come on, it's definitely not nothing. Yeah. Now that she's officially a bystander, Kasahara's got a beaming smile. From my point of view, this is going to get messy, so I'd appreciate it if she didn't tease Hayashi too much. Hayashi still looked completely dazed, then suddenly glared at me. Yamamoto, open your mouth. If you don't want to do this, I seriously think we should stop. No. Why not? Because it's a penalty game. I glanced over at Kasahara. Hathy. She smiled, looking genuinely amused. She clearly had no intention of stopping this. What a mean girl. See, come on, Yamamoto, open your mouth. NGH. Here I go. Hayashi picked up a takoyaki ball from the grill with her chopsticks. Now that I think about it, those are the same chopsticks she was just eating with, which means this is technically an indirect kiss. Even I'm just a guy. Of course I noticed that. But I didn't want them to think I noticed, so I did my best to act oblivious. Ooh, that's an indirect kiss, you two. Kasahara said, twitch. Hayashi's hand froze for a moment, looks like she hadn't realized it. In the end, the most flustered person here is definitely Hayashi. She seemed unsure about whether to switch chopsticks. Holding them midair, she stayed frozen in place for a while. Well, she'll probably change them out. I mean, she wouldn't want to do an indirect kiss with me, right? Or so I thought, until she suddenly lunged forward with the chopsticks, like a car jerking into motion under a reckless driver. I was stunned. What kind of mental process led her to go for it instead? Is she trying to say, I don't care about indirect kisses or whatever? Could you not bring back your old queen bee attitude from high school now of all times? You might not realize this, but no one's benefiting from this situation right now, okay? Meg. The one who stopped this charging queen was Kasahara. Saved, that's right. Kasahara loves Hayashi after all. There's no way she'd let Hayashi share an indirect kiss with some lame guy like me. Kasahara was smiling. She'd been smiling nonstop ever since reuniting with Hayashi. She must be enjoying this situation a lot. Or maybe she's just wearing that smile as a mask to hide what she's really feeling. You can't do that. You have to say ah while feeding him. Say it properly. Ah. Guess it's the first one after all. Is ah. Hayashi's lips trembled. Ah-en. Without ever looking me in the eye, she slipped the takoyaki into my mouth. We're both just dancing in the palm of Kasahara's hand, aren't we? Hayashi is. And so am I. My face was burning. I chewed the takoyaki, but it was completely tasteless. They say you can't taste food when you're nervous. Turns out that's true. My heart was pounding so loud, it was overwhelming. How is it? Hayashi asked, but how was it really? Tastes like octopus. Wait, did we even use octopus in the takoyaki this time? I wasn't talking about the filling. Hayashi's face, her downward gaze, her bright red cheeks, looked just like a boiled octopus. Though honestly, I probably wasn't in any position to talk either. This game's over, that's it. Since Hayashi, the one who came up with the punishment game, was the one to call it off, the whole thing ended after just one round. Chapter 5, The Pouting Queen. The night shift at the convenience store was as uneventful as ever. I stocked shelves and handled restocking orders at a steady pace, and the hours passed by. Yamamoto-kun, good work. It was the manager of this branch who showed up with those words. His name, I think I heard it once during the interview, but I can't remember it. Not that I think I need to. I've never been great at remembering names. Can't be helped. Today must have been rough too, huh, Yamamoto-kun? Ah yeah, I suppose so. I almost said was it, but decided to just nod along instead. I had it rough myself. Got called into HQ, your store sales are too low, they said. Oh, so that's why you weren't here today. Yeah, I just got back. Looking closer, the manager did seem more haggard than usual. I couldn't help but feel a little sorry for him, but there wasn't much I could do for the guy. At most, I could try not to cause any extra trouble at this store, so he wouldn't have to come in outside of his usual hours. Yamamoto-kun, you can clock out early today. But my shift's not over yet. It's fine, see. No customers coming in anymore anyway. That much was true. By this time of night, foot traffic died down considerably. I'd come to understand that well over the past few months working here. Your pay won't be docked or anything. But still, it's fine. The manager cast his eyes downward, his voice subdued. I just want to be alone for a while. Whoa. The words slipped out before I could stop myself. So he really was grilled by HQ today. I wonder what they said to him. Probably something like, why can't you boost nighttime sales? You're not trying hard enough. Even though they were the ones who decided to open a branch in such a dead area at night. So, I'll be heading out now. Feeling a strange wave of sadness just imagining what he went through, I decided to read the room and head home. I quickly gathered my things and left the store. Must be nice. Just as the automatic doors whooshed open, I heard his voice from behind me. Young people, they've got it good. Yeah, let's pretend I didn't hear that. Anyway, I got to leave a little early. I'll use the extra time to study. Finals are coming up soon. I need to buckle down and land a decent job. At the very least, I'm not becoming a convenience store manager. Lost in those thoughts, I walked the night road and soon arrived at my apartment. I saw lights on from outside. I'm home. But when I opened the door, I didn't sense anyone in the living room. Where did Hayashi go? My heart skipped a beat. A bad feeling crept into my mind. No way she was found. Did that guy find her? Just as that worst-case scenario flashed through my head and panic started to rise. So hot. The door to the changing room suddenly burst open from the inside. And of course, the one who opened it was my roommate, Hayashi. Which meant, why was she in the changing room? And what did she mean by so hot? I turned toward the doorway and my eyes went wide. Kaya! Hayashi screamed. I regretted turning toward the noise on instinct. Wet hair, pale thighs, and a chest hastily covered by her arms. Trying to cool down after a bath, she had stepped out of the changing room wearing only a pair of panties. Sorry. I spun around and apologized immediately. My heart was pounding harder than it had all day. Why, Yamamoto? You were supposed to finish your shift around 10, weren't you? Why are you home 30 minutes early? I could tell, even from behind, that she gasped mid-sentence. No way. Don't tell me, did you come home early just to peek on me in the bath? There it is. That completely out there paranoia Hayashi sometimes shows. No, of course not. Liar. Based on what? Because when I borrowed your tablet before, it was filled with dirty videos. Please forget that ever happened. I pleaded with everything I had. But inside, I was thinking, you've come on to me twice already, saying it was so you could stay here. Why is it okay for you to come after me, but not okay if I accidentally see you naked? Besides, my reflexes were too fast anyway, and I didn't even see anything important. I mean, seriously, this time I've actually got a solid explanation. Hold on, I have a legitimate reason. It wasn't peeping. I swear I'm innocent. Then say it. Huh. That legitimate reason, say it. If it really makes sense, I'll let it go. I felt a wave of relief. I was sure she'd forgive me. This time, it really was just a string of coincidences. The manager told me to leave early. What did he say? The manager said he'd still pay me and told me to head home early. Said he wanted to be alone. See, I told you. My reason for coming home early is completely legitimate. There's no way she can stay mad at me now. Yamamoto. What? Is your part-time job really okay? Hayashi cut right to the heart of it. Probably not really okay, no. Mostly when it comes to the manager. Well, fine, I get it. Somehow, she seemed willing to forgive me. She shut the changing room door, and a few minutes later came out fully dressed. So hot. Grumbling that, Hayashi walked into the living room and stood right in the path of the air conditioner. Hey, Hayashi. I called out as I waited for her to return. What is it? You know, you didn't have to wait for me to eat dinner. On the small table in the living room, 2 covered plates sat side by side. Apparently, Hayashi had waited for me to come home before eating. I felt a little bad about that. I've always said food tastes better when you eat together. This is where her stubbornness really shows. She always says I'm the guest since she's the one renting the place, but when it comes to stuff like this, she never listens to me. Even so, you're so stubborn, you know that. Ahem. Asking the same thing every day, you're really obstinate. Though I guess Hayashi sees me the same way, so I just kept quiet. So dinner. Before that, your phone was going off nonstop while you were changing. I pointed to her phone sitting on the edge of the table. Right then, it buzzed again. Who could it be? Seriously, how many people do you know? Huh. Most people don't have their phones buzzing this much. This much is normal, isn't it? I'm telling you, it's not normal. That's why I said something. Why not reply before eating? Okay, let's do that. And dry your hair properly. No whining. If you don't dry your hair, it'll fall out more. What a lazy reaction. Is using a dryer really that annoying? Maybe it's because her hair's long. If I grew mine out, maybe I'd understand how she feels. Not that I want to. Suddenly, Hayashi lit up with a grin like she just had a great idea. She stood up and hurried off to the changing room, then came back holding a hairdryer. Here. Hi. She held it out to me. Dry my hair. Dry your hair. Yeah. You want me to? Yup. Your hair. Yup. She beamed at me. Yeah, no. I, in contrast, made a face like I was absolutely not up for it. Nope, it's your punishment. For what? For seeing me naked. What? Your mistake was underestimating my reflexes. Hi. I turned away instantly. I didn't see anything. Why am I sounding so proud about that? I see. Surprisingly, she took it well. I see, huh? You didn't see anything, I see. What's this? Well, can't help it then. You didn't see a thing, Yamamoto. Please stop making me feel guilty with your mildly hurt but understanding act. Fine. I sighed. Fine, I'll do it. I'll dry your hair, okay? Really? What choice do I have? It's a punishment, right? Exactly. She sat down with her back to me. I plugged in the hairdryer and switched it on. As the loud whirring filled the room, I started drying her hair, using my fingers like a comb. Treating me like some personal servant, Hayashi seemed quite pleased, messing with her phone while I worked. Just like we talked about earlier, she was probably replying to messages from her many friends. Yamamoto. You're kinda good at this hair drying thing, huh? Is there even such a thing as being good or bad at drying hair? There is totally. I mean, I don't actually know. Hayashi said that while fiddling with her phone, leaving me to dry her hair. What now? Is there even a way to be good or bad at drying hair? There totally is, definitely, probably. I mean, I don't actually know. Hayashi replied while scrolling on her phone, leaving me to finish drying her hair. What? You just seem a little too good with girls. It's kinda gross. Wow, that's a pretty blunt insult. It's not an insult, I didn't mean it like that, it just slipped out. Slipping out doesn't make it any less of an insult. I'm not saying it's an excuse. I said I didn't mean it in a bad way. You're real clever, huh? Ahaha, Hayashi laughed. Laughing at a moment like this really shows her true colors. And I wanted to say something to her. Even I have limits, okay? There are things I can't just let slide. And when I get mad, well, I'm kind of scary when I do. Well, okay, this isn't one of those things. Honestly, it's not even enough to get mad about. It's just kind of pathetic. Hey, Yamamoto. What now? Hayashi was really talkative tonight. You know, just now when we were talking, I realized something. What? She said it just as I started to lower my guard, figuring her hair was about done. You might not just have few friends, you might not have any. That was by far the harshest thing she'd said to me all day. Whoa, 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 whoa. I laughed dryly. Nah, come on, Hayashi, you're kidding, right? Well, okay, yeah. I mean, I've always claimed to have a few friends, but if I'm being honest, she's probably right. Maybe I don't have any at all. I just never said it out loud because, well, it's like sweeping something gross under the rug. Ahaha, you just admitted it. Well, yeah. I thought for sure you'd be all like, define friendship. Can you really define it? And you're trying to say I have no friends? I expected you to get all nitpicky and defensive. The version of me in your head is a full-on instigator. Okay, I'm not great at handling provocation. I might snap back if provoked, but not that bad, I hope. I turned off the hairdryer. All done. Thanks. I stood up to put the dryer away. Looked like Hayashi had just finished messaging her friends, too. Hey Yamamoto. I heard her yell from the living room as I was putting the dryer away. I just thought of something really great. Liar, that's absolutely not going to be great. When I came back into the room, Hayashi looked me straight in the eyes. What if I talked to Akari about how you don't have any friends? Knew it, absolutely not, denied. I shut that down immediately. Hayashi puffed her cheeks in protest. Why not? Why would I say yes to that? It's a win-win. Yeah, if it fails, I'm the one taking the hit. So, like a one stone one Yamamoto situation. Exactly. You are sharp, I'll give you that. In that case, I'll just keep thinking about it behind the scenes. Right, you're scheming somewhere I won't get caught in the crossfire. Okay, got it. Her enthusiasm was always impressive. And knowing how stubborn she is, she's totally going to keep scheming. All right, let's eat. Yeah. Yamamoto. What now? I'll help you however I can, just say the word. Hayashi beamed as she said it. Whether it's about you and Akari, or just needing a friend. If you're ever in trouble, come to me, okay? I'll think about it. For a second, I thought about brushing her off, but instead gave her a vague answer. But seriously, make sure you take care of yourself first, all right? Okay. She grinned happily and gave an overly cheery reply. Section. It's been a week since Hayashi and Kasahara reunited. Since then, Hayashi's been constantly messaging Kasahara and her old high school crew, the same people she used to run the show with. Maybe thanks to that, she's been in visibly higher spirits lately. As for me, not so much. Sure, cramming for finals isn't fun, but that's not the main reason. It's not some social dilemma either. The real reason? Hayashi restricted my cleaning time. Ever since I started living alone in this apartment, I'd spend most of my free days cleaning. It was my hobby, my purpose. Now that I've had that taken away, there's no way I'm going to enjoy my days. Hey, Hayashi, I want to renegotiate something. Just as she stood to start prepping dinner, I called out to her. Renegotiate. About cleaning. Cleaning? You already did an hour today. Yeah, about that. I hesitated, then began. Can I get a little more cleaning time? I tried to keep my tone light, so as not to irritate her. Man, I sound like a husband begging for a bigger allowance. Nope. But Hayashi shot my request down without hesitation. Why not? Come on, please. You're so uninterested in friendships or romance, so why are you so weirdly passionate about cleaning? Well, what can I say? My days just haven't been any fun lately. Don't you have anything else to do? Studying, I guess. Then why not try making some friends? If I made friends, I'd lose personal time. I couldn't handle that. Do you realize how proudly pathetic that sounds? Hayashi, that's a rookie question. Yeah, pretty aware. She sighed. Then she turned and headed to the kitchen, signaling the conversation was over. Looks like she was about to start making dinner. But from my point of view, this conversation wasn't over yet. Still, if I pushed too hard now, I might seriously tick her off. Worst case, she might ban cleaning entirely. I guess I'll let it go this time. Just as I gave up on negotiations and was about to turn on the TV, Hayashi's voice reached my ears. It sounded like she'd just realized she'd forgotten something. We're out of miso. Apparently, she hadn't noticed the container was empty. When I took her in, we made a rule. I'd do the grocery runs. We never knew where that violent ex might be lurking. Since cooking was left entirely to her, I'd fallen out of touch with what we had in the fridge. So nowadays, she usually tells me what we need before I shop. That's rare. You don't usually slip up. Sorry. Don't worry about it. Everyone makes mistakes. But still, hey, I once kept cleaning for an hour even after you called me for lunch. That's a mistake too, right? That doesn't count. But right as I brushed off her reply, a spark went off in my head. Well, no big deal. Everyone makes mistakes, right? An idea, no, a brilliant scheme, flashed in my mind. I'll go get the miso. And the scheme was this. Take advantage of her mistake and earn some brownie points. You're sounding a little too upbeat all of a sudden. Hayashi's voice was ice cold. Really, I feel like I'm always like this. Not even close. Try being more self-aware. You think so? Well, anyway, isn't cooperation and forgiveness what shared living is all about? I guess. Exactly. So hey, I'm not mad at all about this little mistake. You're clearly hiding something. I ignored her doubts and quickly got ready to head out. No matter how suspicious it looked, if I went out and bought the miso, Hayashi would definitely feel a bit indebted. That's just how she is, so I had to act before she caught on. Wait. She stopped me. What? I'm coming too. What? I said I'm coming with you. I hadn't expected that. I froze for a moment. If I'm with you, it's okay for me to go out, right? Yeah. I had said that at one point, hadn't I? Then I'm coming. I made the mistake, so I should take responsibility. But wouldn't it be more efficient if we split the work? I scrambled, trying to find some kind of counter. I had to go alone. This was my chance to gain the upper hand. Then let me help with the cleaning too. What the hell are you talking about? No way. Then don't talk about efficiency when you won't even try it yourself. Fair enough. That actually caught me off guard. I couldn't help but be impressed. She got me there, totally out-argued. Fine, get ready. I slumped my shoulders in defeat. Okay. Her voice was a touch more cheerful than usual. Just wait a sec, okay. Maybe she just wanted to get out of the house, using her mistake as an excuse. The last time she'd gone out was a week ago with Kasahara. Since then, she'd been diligently following our agreement and staying inside. Being cooped up all day can wear on anyone. Ready. Even though it was nighttime, it was still summer. Hayashi was dressed lightly. It wasn't anything fancy, but it definitely wasn't her usual loungewear either. She looked a little dressed up. All right, let's go. Yup. As soon as we stepped outside, the heat hit us like a wall. It had reached 39 degrees C earlier today, a full-on scorcher. Lately, there were way too many days approaching 40 degrees C. Even though the sun had already started to dip, I started sweating on my arms and legs the second I stepped outside. It was hard not to grumble. So hot. You seem pretty cheerful for saying that. Really? Sweat glistened on her forehead as Hayashi smiled. I was just thinking, you know. About what? Walking together like this, doesn't it kind of feel like a date? My heart skipped a beat. I turned to look at her in surprise, and Hayashi was smiling mischievously, looking up at me with teasing eyes. Awa, what's this, Yamamoto-kun? What? Don't tell me you got flustered. Yeah, it's hot today. Might be heatstroke or something. Ahaha, wow, that's a terrible excuse. I let out a long sigh. Ever since reuniting with her old friend, Hayashi had been overly energetic. Not that I minded, this was what I wanted for her, but I really wished she'd stop messing with me. It made my heart race. And I couldn't exactly tell her that because she'd just crank it up. But seriously, I'm asking for your sake too, Hayashi. I am still a guy, you know? And you're a girl. We're two people of the opposite sex living alone together. If you keep provoking me like that, do you even realize what could happen? If something did happen, I'm the one who'd be in trouble. In this unequal world, even if both parties consent, if someone later claims they didn't, the guy gets dragged off and drained for cash. Harboring a girl in your room comes with responsibilities, like firm boundaries and ironclad self-control. And if she's the one being allowed to stay, then Hayashi shouldn't be tempting fate either. Let me be clear. The only reason this arrangement is even functioning is because I'm keeping my urges under control, all right. Geez, is Hayashi trying to destroy me? Well, maybe she only acts this way because she knows I'm a hopeless coward. Anyway, save your dating energy for Akari next time. Shut up. Bantering like that, we soon arrived at the nearest supermarket. Unlike the blazing outdoors, the air-conditioned store greeted us with refreshing coolness and upbeat music. So cool. Hayashi said it, I nearly echoed her but held back, not my style. Let's see, condiments. Where's the condiment aisles? I glanced up at the signs hanging from the ceiling and headed for the shelf with the miso. Hey, Yamamoto. Then came the voice of the one person to stop me. Why are you rushing straight to buy the miso? Because we came to buy miso. Wait, was I wrong? If so, sorry. Since we're here, let's browse around a bit. Whoa. Hayashi grabbed my hand. Hey, don't run in the store. It's dangerous. Oh, right. She slowed her pace. Come on, you're not a kid anymore. Ahaha, sorry. Watching her laugh so innocently, I couldn't stay annoyed. Well, we had time, and if she wanted to look around, I didn't see the harm. Just don't waste too much money. Got it. That was the only thing worth saying. We both had to budget carefully these days. Though honestly, if you're not planning to buy anything, a supermarket isn't exactly Disneyland. Oh hey look, muscat grapes. Yeah, there they are. I saw on the news that there's an oversupply and prices are dropping. These look cheaper than last time. Yeah, maybe. And surprisingly, we'd already been wandering the store for about 30 minutes. My shopping basket was still empty, pure window shopping. Whoa, protein powder's expensive. Yamamoto, do you drink this stuff? I used to. What, really? Yeah. Hayashi looked genuinely taken aback. What? That's surprising. Hugely. Back in high school, I got really into it. Into what? Weight training. Fdahaha. Wait, was that supposed to be funny? I was being serious. Sorry. It's just, the image of you doing that is so unexpected. Even so, I was really into it back then. For real? Oh yeah, there was a gym near our high school, huh? Wow, that brings back memories. Yeah. I used to go pretty regularly. What? If you don't believe me, want to see my old membership card? I pulled out my wallet and handed her the card. She looked back and forth between my face and the card for a while. What? You were seriously into it? Yup, back then I even made my own lunchboxes, planned the menu based on my PFC balance. Hearing the words PFC balance come out of your mouth is just. Hayashi trailed off as if recalling something. But didn't you once say you could only make really basic meals? These days, you can get high-protein, low-fat foods at any convenience store. A bit pricey, but it's doable. I see, so you pack that stuff into your bento. Gross. I actually wanted to control my breakfast and dinner too, but my mom and sister shot me down. Said I was being a pain. Hayashi knew all too well that I could be overly meticulous and obsessive. It wouldn't take much imagination for her to picture the exasperated looks my mom and sister gave me. Wait, did she just call me gross? Did talking about fitness make her crave something like gizzard skewers or something? Hahaha, Hayashi, seriously now, I almost took legal action for defamation just now, you know? Huh, so you have a little sister. The conversation had veered off. Yeah, I do. Ahem. So why'd you stop working out? At first, I planned to keep it up after starting college. But looking for a new gym just made the whole thing feel like too much, and I lost interest. I was the kind of guy who got obsessed quickly, but cooled off just as fast. When I got into something, I'd go all in, borderline neurotic. But once the spark was gone, that was it, zero motivation or interest. I'll admit, I was a bit put off at first. But thinking about it now, you were just really dedicated to something you liked. Honestly, that kind of thing should be popular with girls. You make it sound like I wasn't. Were you? TCH. Hayashi, I wasn't working out to impress girls, you know. Right, well, good luck with that. Just so you know, you were the one who started digging into this topic. Ahaha, well, I'm sure your time to shine will come eventually. You'll have your moment. Don't act like it's definitely not coming anytime soon. Not that I need it, okay? It's not like I'm dying to be popular with girls or anything. Really. As I sulked with that lame thought in my head, a voice called out from behind. Who's the guy with you, Hayashi-san? The voice was directed at Hayashi, a woman's voice. Ah, Miyachi-san. Hayashi called the name happily. I recognized the name. She was the friend Hayashi had bumped into last time with Kasahara. I turned around. The girl smiling at Hayashi wasn't someone I recognized. Let me introduce you, Miyachi-san. This is Yamamoto. Hayashi answered the question by introducing me. Nice to meet you, Yamamoto-kun. Yeah. And what's your relationship? Miyachi asked Hayashi. Hayashi hesitated. Well, of course. He's the guy who took me in after I ran from an abusive ex. Isn't something you blurt out easily, especially for someone like her who used to be a queen bee. We're friends. Friends. I answered in her place and Hayashi gave me a clearly displeased glare. Don't look at me like that. What else was I supposed to say? I see. Why yeah, that's right. Hayashi gave a forced laugh to brush it off. I too was starting to feel awkward under Miyachi's cold gaze. Hey, Hayashi-san, are you free next Saturday? Life's strange, huh? The other day, I thought it was fine just to go home on time, but I ended up getting let off early. Today, I was wishing to leave early, and here I am, stuck out late. Next Saturday. Yup, our university starts summer break next week. Exams are over, so I thought we could go to a summer festival together. An invite to a summer festival, huh? Ever since she got a new phone, Hayashi had been eager to hang out with friends. Considering everything she's been through, it'd be a good thing for her to reconnect and build happy memories. Sorry, I don't think I can. Huh? Why not? I blurted out without thinking. I was genuinely surprised Hayashi turned down the invite when she had seemed so eager for this kind of chance. You should go, it's just a festival. I can't. I don't have the money. Hayashi lowered her gaze. How much can a festival really cost? Still, you finally got to see your friends again, and they're inviting you out. You should go. Make some memories. Yamamoto. Did you really just say that? Oof, right. Not even an hour ago, I said having friends would just eat into my time. Now I'm out here preaching about hanging out with friends. I'd call myself out too. But yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe I should go to the festival. Just when I was scrambling to figure out how to convince her, Hayashi smiled and agreed. Why yeah, friends are important and stuff. Totally. Again, you're saying that. Hayashi grinned, and I gave her a sheepish smile in return. It was a bit forceful, but if it meant she was going to the festival, then mission accomplished. Sorry about that, Miyachi-san. Didn't mean to make things awkward. And no, not at all. Miyachi looked a bit taken aback, but smiled and shook her head. And sorry, I think I will go to the summer festival. Okay. Let's have fun. Where should we go? I'll look into it and message you later. Thanks, I'm looking forward to it. Well then, I guess I'll get going. Huh, but we could still chat a bit. It's fine. Miyachi glanced toward me briefly. I don't want to get in the way of you and your boyfriend having time alone together. What the? Bye now. Dropping a ridiculous bombshell as her parting gift, Miyachi-san walked off. Hayashi stood there, stunned. And to be fair, I was just as rattled. That whole exchange had left a painfully awkward air hanging around us. Today was the first time I'd even met Miyachi-san, and yet she'd already completely misunderstood our situation. There's no way we look like a couple, right? I tried to keep my tone cool as I let out a sigh of disbelief. That Miyachi girl clearly needs her eyes checked. Hayashi didn't answer. What was she thinking? Her silence was starting to freak me out. What scared me most was that if she got pissed about this, the one who'd suffer wouldn't be Miyachi-san, the one who caused it, it'd be me. Seriously, how is that even fair? Next time you see her, make sure you correct her, okay? Tell her we're not a couple or anything. Yamamoto. Why yeah? You don't have to get that worked up denying it. She was sulking. Fantastic. Mission unintentionally piss off Hayashi, success. I must be the most efficient landmine triggerer on the planet. Someone give me a medal. Sorry. It's fine, whatever. The way she emphasized that, whatever, didn't exactly make it sound fine. What the hell did I do to get her all bent out of shape? I mean, she was the one pushing me toward Kasahara just the other day, remember? And now she's mad just because I said she should clear up a misunderstanding about us being a couple. Let's just buy the miso and go. Come on, don't be mad. I'm not mad. That's literally what people say when they are mad. HMPH, I'm gonna binge like crazy at the summer festival. That's honestly a good idea. You're a bit too skinny. Don't go ogling my body, creep. I live with you, I can't help seeing it. That's fair, HMPH. Hayashi turned away, still clearly ticked off. Seriously, what did I say that set her off this time? Even after weeks of living under the same roof, I still couldn't begin to grasp what made Hayashi angry, or happy, or anything in between. Still, well, I clearly messed up somehow, and I'll need to make it up to her eventually. Chapter 6. The Queen in a Yukata. Today was the final day of the first semester. With finals nearing their end, I was taking my last exam of the term, French. Since French was a general elective open to all departments, not just my engineering faculty, the lecture hall was packed with students from all over campus. The ones who were usually noisy during class were now quietly focused on the exam, at least for today. All right, I muttered as I placed my pencil on the desk. I'd finished all the questions with 20 minutes to spare. I even checked my answers 3 times. No mistakes, probably. I mean, if I'm going to go around saying studying is my hobby, I don't want to lose points for some dumb reason. Call it the pride of a study nerd, maybe. Well, not like there's anyone at this university I want to show off to anyway. Okay, that's the end of the test. A little while later, the chime rang and the professor spoke. The students, silent just moments ago, suddenly let out a wave of sighs and wails of despair. If you're gonna make that much noise, maybe you should have studied harder, I thought. But of course, there was no one around I could say that to. Anyway, that wrapped up everything I needed to do for the first semester of my freshman year. Now I could finally welcome summer break with a clear conscience. Maybe it was the relief of finishing the semester safely, but I found myself reflecting. It's only been a few months since I moved to Tokyo, and yet so much has happened already. If someone were to ask me what the most memorable part of the semester was, I wouldn't even hesitate to answer. Probably getting recruited into a pyramid scheme. So anyway, as I was lost in dumb thoughts, I caught sight of Kasahara, who had also taken the French test, heading out the front doors of the lecture hall with a group of friends. I was staring absent-mindedly when Kasahara noticed me looking. For a second, I thought she might say something, but she simply left with her friends. Well, that's a relief. Honestly, it felt like I'd dodged a bullet. It's easier on my nerves when she doesn't try to stir up more trouble. We weren't exactly on speaking terms anymore anyway. Just seeing each other around didn't mean we had to talk. Her ignoring me was perfectly reasonable. Time to head home. Refocusing myself, I stood up and left for my apartment. While others were still stuck with exams, I had the luxury of heading home before noon. Outside, it was brutally hot. Just walking a few steps had sweat running down my back. But there was something refreshing about getting home this early. I didn't mind it. Before heading to my apartment, though, there was a place I wanted to stop by. I arrived at the station nearest to campus and climbed up to the platform to wait for the train. As cicadas screamed in the distance, I passed the time on my phone. When the train slid into the station, I stepped aside to let passengers off, then boarded once the path was clear. Inside, the AC was blasting. The cold air cooled the sweat on my back. 2 stops later, a seat opened up, so I took it. Just like before boarding, I still had my phone in hand, searching. What I was looking for was how to cheer up a girl gift ideas. It was about what happened the day I met Miyachi. I must have upset Hayashi somehow, so I thought I'd try to make it up to her with a gift. Not that Hayashi had been acting particularly cold toward me since then. She was still her usual self, laughing at dumb stuff, getting mad over dumb stuff, and wasting time on dumb stuff. So maybe there wasn't really a need to give her anything. But to me, this was my way of expressing some kind of apology for even momentarily making her feel bad. Still, even now, I hadn't figured out what to get her. I figured I'd come up with something eventually, but summer break was already right around the corner. I still can't decide. The words slipped out of my mouth before I could stop them. People nearby gave me sharp looks, so I lowered my head and kept scrolling through my phone like I was trying to disappear. The reason it was so hard to find something for Hayashi was obvious. Based on how she usually acted, anything too expensive would just make her feel awkward. So I was looking for something low cost, but still thoughtful. Unfortunately, I hadn't found anything that ticked both boxes. Man, this is such a pain. Why can't Hayashi be more like one of those gold digger girls who have no shame? Thinking that, rude to basically everyone, I noticed the train had arrived at the station near my apartment. I got off the train. If it comes to this, I'll just drop by the department store. Resigned, I headed out of the station and made my way to the nearby department store. I sighed as I stepped into the cool air, then began wandering the aisles, hoping something would jump out at me. To be honest, I didn't expect to find anything. I'd already scoured tons of articles and online stores without finding a single good option. This place probably wouldn't be any different. Oh. But surprisingly, just a few steps into the store, something immediately caught my eye. I'm back. As soon as I got home, I let out a long sigh. Walking under the scorching sun had completely drained me. Welcome back. Hayashi came pattering over in her slippers to greet me. Here, tea. Thanks. I downed the green tea she handed me like a salaryman cracking open a beer after work, then exhaled dramatically. You sound like an old man. I'm 19, show some respect. Sorry. She actually apologized. Now that's rare. I could almost cry. Physically 19, I guess, physically. Don't be stupid. According to the body composition scale I brought from home, I'm 17. Didn't think that thing would ever come in handy. Ha, take that. Well, anyway, good job finishing your exams. Totally ignored. Yeah. That test was rough, huh? Are you worried you might not pass? Worried? Yeah. Huh, do I look like the type? You. With just 2 syllables, Hayashi expertly stabbed me in the heart. You really don't do humility, do you? Of course not. Because I'm confident in what I've done. A meaning. Humility is for people who aren't confident in themselves. Hayashi said nothing. People should be honest and open about what they've accomplished. Because someone's achievements say a lot about who they are. What do you mean? Do you think someone who studies with the mindset that just passing is enough could ever get a top score on a test? Huh. Do you think they could? Maybe. And why's that? Well, you see those genius kids on TV all the time. You know, middle school prodigies and stuff. That's different. How? Those kids aren't studying to get good grades. They don't care about scores in the first place. They study because they want to. That's why they ace tests without even aiming to. Hayashi went quiet. In other words, their goal is different from the start. Scoring high is just a bonus that comes from doing what they love. Huh. So yeah, someone who thinks just passing is fine isn't going to get top marks. I can say that with certainty. I see. That's why I believe this. Someone's results reflect who they are. Ahem. And when people hide their achievements behind false modesty, it just means they don't believe in themselves. It makes sense. Exactly. That's why I never play humble. I have absolute confidence in myself. That's how sure I am in everything I've worked for up to this point. Studying, cleaning, even everything else. Whatever I do, if I fail, I reflect and improve. If I succeed, I keep going. That's how I've always operated. You know, you really do sound like someone living their second life. This is still my first, thanks. I bet you've had a ton of successful experiences then. Don't be dumb. It's been mostly failures. I answered without hesitation. People only learn through failure. Really? Yeah, regret is what finally makes you reflect. That's just how humans work. Hayashi looked down. Maybe that idea struck close to home for her. Hey, Yamamoto. What? I was just thinking. She slowly lifted her head. Then how come you don't have any friends? A brutal punch of logic. I mean, achievements aren't just about academics, right? Friendships are a kind of achievement too, don't you think? Are they? They are. Yeah, I guess they are. So, if you don't have any friends, why don't you reflect and improve like you do with everything else? Everything she said is 100% correct. No argument here, but even I have a reason for not making friends. You really don't get it. I grinned smugly. Don't tell me it's because there's no benefit in it. HMPH, correct. I mean, you're the one who told me to reconnect with old friends the other day. You even made me blow all my cash on a phone bill. Obviously, you wouldn't say something that hypocritical, right? HMPH. Right. HMPH. Of course not. I said, thought so. I'm glad Yamamoto's not that kind of guy. Hayashi let out a relieved breath. So, tell me why. Now what? Well, this is awkward, makes sense, I guess. The only answer I had got shut down by Hayashi, and I can't exactly say, yeah, you're right, out of sheer pride. Why does it feel like I just lost? Fine, guess I'll try to find a different answer. Why don't I make friends? It's true, I've never seen any real value in friendships. Back in elementary school, I did have people I could call friends. But even then, I always preferred being alone. So yeah, being alone just feels easier for me. That's why I don't try to make friends. If that's the case, maybe I just need to explain why I feel more comfortable being alone. The reasons I prefer solitude. Back in kindergarten, I made a girl cry because I had a bad habit of saying too much. At home, I was usually left alone. And that's not all. Maybe it's because I've never regretted anything. With acquaintances, with teachers, with friends, with family, I've experienced a number of farewells in my life, but I've never once felt sad after parting ways. Not once have I ever felt regret. Maybe that's why I think this way. It's okay if I lose something. Even if it's 3 years from now, even if it's a year from now, even if it's tomorrow. Even if it's right now, if I won't regret it, then it's okay to lose it. I wouldn't even consider it a failure. That's why I don't take precautions. I don't leave feedback. Part of me even believes that's what success looks like. I couldn't help but think what a cruel mindset that was. Hey, Yamamoto. Hayashi's face looked somewhat lonely. Then, what would you think if the day came when I had to leave? Yours leaving. The day Hayashi leaves this place, it's not like I've never thought about it. In fact, I've considered it ever since the first day I took her in. The day we'd part ways, the day Hayashi would leave this room, I always figured that day would come, because we're not lovers, we're not even friends. And yet, we're living together. I've thought it so many times. Our relationship is so warped. So I know the day will come when we'll say goodbye. That day. That inevitable day, what will I feel when it comes? I don't know. I dropped my gaze to the floor. I don't know, I really didn't know. No matter how much I thought about it, no matter how much I racked my brain, I couldn't come up with a decent answer. This is the first time I've ever felt like this. These tangled emotions, too complex to unravel, too foreign to understand. But, still, one thing I know for sure, I don't want to regret anything. I know this, that people can only truly learn from failure. That's why I prepare. I take precautions to avoid failure. I make sure I won't regret anything. Why? Hayashi said, we're not even friends. Back in high school, we had a pretty terrible relationship. She continued, a day where we part ways, wouldn't that be something to celebrate? Yeah. At first, I might have felt that way. So what changed? Why, The answer came to me instantly. It was through this time living together, even if it was only for a few dozen days, sharing a life under one roof. What I came to realize, back then I never would have imagined feeling this way. When I first took Hayashi in, I honestly thought living together would be a disaster. She'd go out even when I told her not to. She'd put time limits on when I could clean. She and Kasahara would gang up and tease me. When did that turning point happen, I wonder? Probably pretty early on. It was only a few weeks ago, but it already feels like some distant memory. So distant, I can barely recall it anymore. If I told my high school self this, I'd probably get laughed at. I guess it's because you've become important to me. To think I'd end up feeling this way about Hayashi. Someone I used to be so bad with, someone I didn't even want to talk to. Maybe I already think of you as family. We live under the same roof, so in a way, that's not wrong. But what I meant was more on an emotional level. If Hayashi's happy, then I'm happy. If she's sad, then I'm sad. If she's angry, then I get angry too. We share our feelings. We look out for one another. I started feeling for Hayashi the same way one would for family. Family, Hayashi lowered her gaze. Come to think of it, I was disowned by my parents. Despite the words, her downcast face looked kind of happy. Then, I guess that makes you my only family now. Even if someday, that too will change. But for now, Hayashi, there's something I want to give you. What is it? I set my backpack down on the floor. Unzipping it, I pulled out a paper bag. From the neatly folded paper bag came a yukata. Hayashi's eyes widened as I handed it to her. It was a beautiful yukata with a sunflower pattern on a blue base. I had found it earlier when we stopped by the department store and decided to buy it. Where did this come from? I bought it. I bought it. I smiled. Wear it to the summer festival the day after tomorrow. In contrast to my smile, Hayashi lowered her gaze again. But, don't feel bad about it. If anything, I should be the one apologizing for buying it without even asking you first. I looked her straight in the eyes. Honestly, I knew you'd make that face. Then why? I bought it knowing that. I bought it out of my own selfishness. Why? Her voice trembled slightly. I haven't done anything to deserve this from you. That's not true. It is. Still looking down, she spoke softly. I've only been a burden this whole time. If anything, I'm the one who's been a burden. This is to make up for the other day. The other day. When I made you upset. At the supermarket, when we ran into that Miyachi-san girl. That's nothing. I've always had this bad habit of saying too much. Of saying things I shouldn't and hurting people. And every time, I've regretted it later. That's why, whenever I get the chance to apologize, I make sure to do it properly. That's no lie. It's just part of the way I've learned to survive, having always been something of a troublemaker. So please take it. But, if accepting the yukata for free makes you feel guilty, then grant me a wish. A wish? Yeah, a wish. You said it once yourself. If there's anything I want, I should just say it. So I'm saying it now. I nodded and continued. Make this summer festival with Miyachi an unforgettable memory. Spending time at an event with someone you're comfortable around, That gets harder as you grow up, right? So take your time and enjoy it while you can. But if you can do just that for me, that's all I ask. That's enough for me. Still hesitant, Hayashi took the yukata from my hands. She slowly embraced it, gently, lovingly. Thanks, Yamamoto. Yeah. I'm going to enjoy that summer festival, I promise. With strength in her voice, Hayashi made her declaration. Chapter 7, The Scheming Queen, the day of the summer festival. It was 4:30 in the afternoon. Yamamoto, come help me for a sec. Hayashi, who was in the changing area getting dressed in her yukata, called out to me. At first, she had boldly tried to change in the living room, but thanks to me turning bright red and stopping her, she'd moved to the changing area instead. I wasn't sure what she needed help with, but I stood up and headed over. Just as I reached for the doorknob, I stopped. You're already done changing into the yukata, right? I asked. Hi. Just answer me. I'm done changing. From the other side of the door, Hayashi answered with a slightly exasperated tone. Why do I get scolded for being considerate? You're the one who tore into me the other day for accidentally seeing you naked. I don't understand this girl's standards for anger. I let out a sigh and opened the door. And there she was. Her long black hair was tied into a ponytail. In her hand was the matching drawstring pouch that came with the yukata. And the yukata itself, well, it fit Hayashi's already slender frame perfectly. Which is to say, Hathi. Hayashi puffed out her chest. Why are you puffing your chest out? Hathi, go on, say what you're thinking. She was clearly demanding I say aloud the compliments I'd tried to keep to myself. You really do have absolute confidence in your looks, huh? Which unfortunately brought up the whole humility debate from 2 days ago again. Wrong, that's not what I meant. Naturally, my completely off-target answer put her in a bad mood. You look cute. Reluctantly, I said it. Yes, that, exactly that. Shut up. I averted my eyes from Hayashi. It was, in short, an attempt to hide my embarrassment. Say it again. Say it again. Come on, it's not like it costs anything. You're cute. Hathi. What's with that smug look? Seriously, like I said earlier, she really does have absolute confidence in her looks. Always going on about how she's got nothing, yet acting like this. Satisfied now. So, why'd you call me over anyway? Don't tell me, she called me here just to get complimented. Oh, right. With a smile, Hayashi handed me a compact of foundation. Put this on me. Oh, why? Well, I'm kind of sloppy, you know. I always end up with uneven patches. That's not what I meant. Haven't you already put some on? Her face looked a little different than usual. Normally, she doesn't wear makeup at home. She's still beautiful without it, but today, she looked at least 30% more striking. It really is amazing how much makeup can change someone's appearance, and yet, if she's already wearing some, I don't get why she wants me to apply more. Oh, no, not that. Hayashi waved her hand in front of her face. Why does that annoy me? Put it here. She pointed to a bruise on her arm, one of the marks left by the guy she used to live with. It looked like it had started to fade a bit since I took her in, but there were still places where the traces remained clearly and painfully visible. Lately, I'd gotten used to seeing them, but there were still moments when I'd catch a glimpse and instinctively wince, and now she wanted to cover that up with foundation? Why? When I asked, she answered with a smile. To hide the bruise. You randomly bought this foundation, right? It's a darker beige, so maybe it wouldn't hold up under bright sunlight, but at night, it should be enough to make the bruise less noticeable. Oh, I see. Right. So go ahead and apply it. Elahi. It was an eye-opening idea, sure, but that didn't mean I wanted to put makeup on her arm. Hence, the deep, reluctant groan that slipped from my mouth. You're good at finicky stuff like this, aren't you? Hey, I'll take that as a compliment. What's with the smug face? So annoying. She wasn't wrong, though. When it comes to delicate, meticulous work, no one's better than me. I'm even a bit of a perfectionist, so I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up saying, leave the bruise-covering makeup to me. In fact, I actually enjoyed drying her long hair with a blow dryer the other day. I've done it twice this week already after her baths. Seriously, who knows what people will get obsessed with? So, how do I apply foundation anyway? Either way, she wasn't going to let me go until I did it, so I decided to give it a try. Oh right, you wouldn't know. After a few minutes of guidance from Hayashi, I picked up the puff applicator. Then, the moment the puff touched her skin, Is Hayashi gasped. Don't make weird noises. Sorry. She let out a sheepish laugh. That reaction alone drastically decreased the chances of me ever enjoying applying foundation. I mean, that was just kind of, provocative. Suppressing all unnecessary thoughts, I applied the foundation quickly, but carefully over the bruise. Done. I finally finished and let out a sigh of relief. Thanks. Hayashi thanked me and twisted her arm to inspect the covered bruise. You really are good at finicky stuff. If you say that to anyone else, it'll sound like an insult. Skipping happily, she returned to the living room. I let out another sigh and followed her a step behind. The clock in the living room pointed to 5 p.m. according to what she said yesterday. She planned to leave around this time. Hayashi, it's about time to head out. Okay. Putting the money I gave her into the drawstring pouch, she answered cheerfully. She rummaged through the pouch, checking if she'd forgotten anything. Ding dong, the doorbell rang. Who could that be at a time like this? No one ever comes to visit us. Some kind of solicitation, maybe? If so, maybe I'll just ignore it. But Hayashi needs to leave soon. Kamiyaing. Hi. While I was still deep in thought, Hayashi walked straight to the door, without the slightest hesitation, as if she already knew who it was. Wait, could it be Miyachi? But no, she and Miyachi were supposed to meet at the station closest to the summer festival grounds. Since I was worried about her traveling alone, I even offered to go with her partway on the train. I know that part's correct. Then who could it possibly be? Akarin, long time no see. Kasehara. I let out a stunned, almost ridiculous-sounding voice. I'll support you all the way, so give it your best, okay? Hayashi had definitely said something like that to me before, trying to play matchmaker between me and Kasehara. Even during the takoyaki party, she'd been watching for the right moment to bring us closer. But I never imagined she'd pull something this extreme. Wait, Meg, why are you wearing a yukata? Oh, this. Yamamoto gave it to me. What? Sorry, Akari. I was planning to hang out with you today, but turns out I double-booked. Are you serious? So, hang out with Yamamoto for me. Later. By the time I snapped out of my daze and ran toward the front door, Hayashi was already gone. Instead, standing in stunned silence at the entrance was Kasehara, her expression completely blank in confusion. Yamamoto-kun. After a moment, Kasehara spoke in a cold voice. Yeah. Explain. We were set up. She double-booked us on purpose. I think she's trying to force us together, no matter what. Not that. Kasehara suddenly stepped in close, and I reflexively leaned back. That was close, we nearly bumped into each other. I flinched a little at the intensity in her posture. Why did you give Meg a yukata? That's the part you're mad about. I wanted to give Meg a yukata. Kasehara collapsed where she stood. Shouldn't you be at least a little mad at Hayashi too? For now, I closed the front door. We were getting loud, and I didn't want to bother the neighbors. Section. Ever since I got a roommate, this place has rarely been quiet. So it had been a while since I'd last heard the ticking of the clock so clearly. I'd always liked quiet places. Even at home, I preferred retreating to my room when I needed to concentrate, rather than staying in the living room with the TV and my parents. But right now, I wanted nothing more than to escape this silence. Come on, cheer up, Kasehara. Kasehara, Hayashi's best friend and now my unexpected guest, was slumped over the small table we usually used for meals. She wasn't asleep. She might not have been crying either, but she was clearly feeling down, and the reason was obvious. I'll scold Hayashi for this later. I mean, if you came here planning to hang out with Hayashi and she ran off with someone else, anyone would be upset. That's not your place. Hi. Yamamoto-kun has no right to scold Meg. Ah, right. Kasehara finally spoke, but something about her felt different than usual. Then again, considering how obsessed she is with Hayashi, maybe this was her usual. Well, I'm glad you're at least back on your feet. Still, there was something I needed to say. Maybe it's time for you to head home. Being alone in this room with Kasehara was not a situation we chose for ourselves. Hayashi, like a runaway train, had engineered it. Her whole plan was to force us together and close the distance between us. But no matter how carefully she set the table, what happened next was up to us. In other words, if Kasehara just left now, nothing weird would happen. Kasehara glared at me, then looked down again. Do you want me to go home? Yeah. I nodded, half serious, half joking. I wouldn't mind staying a little longer, though. Kasehara. Hey, Yamamoto-kun. I felt my heart skip just a little. It wasn't unpleasant. The ticking of the clock was almost soothing. Is it okay if I stay here a bit longer? From outside the window, the noisy voices of children reached us. Soon, night would fall upon us. A long, long night. I swallowed hard. Kasehara. Her eyes, as she looked at me, felt oddly intense. Tell me the truth. Since Meg told me to hang out with you, it'd be awkward to leave now. I let out a long sigh, took a few steps back, and sat down. There were a few things I wanted to say to this girl in front of me, but seeing how unwavering she was in her feelings for Hayashi, I found myself at a loss for words. If anything, I was too stunned to say anything at all. So I decided to stop questioning her feelings for Hayashi. If I did that, there was really nothing left to say. I thought silence would hang between us from then on, but that wasn't the case. Hey, something's been on my mind for a while now. There had been something I'd wanted to ask Kasehara for quite some time. Did I ever do something to make you mad at me? A chill ran down my spine. If I could take those words back, I absolutely would. But I couldn't help it, I had to ask. I hadn't known Kasehara for that long, nor were we particularly close. Well, maybe in general terms that's true, but by my standards, we were just one step short of family. That's how close we'd been back in high school. Even someone like me, who people constantly said was oblivious, always said too much, didn't know when to shut up, and was generally annoying, could tell Kasehara's attitude toward me lately had changed. But still, I had no idea why. After graduating high school, I'd hardly had any real contact with Kasehara. Which meant, if I had done something to upset her, I couldn't begin to guess what it was. Still, it felt wrong to just let it go, so I asked. As a result, Kasehara's expression vanished from her face. With her soft looks and deliberately cutesy tone, I'd always thought of Kasehara as the kind of girl who tugged at guys' protective instincts. From the very first time we met, that impression had never once changed. But now, maybe for the first time, I caught a glimpse of the other side of Kasehara. Do you really want to know? Right this moment. Not really, I'm kind of scared now. I decided to flee. The empty look in her eyes was piercing right into my cheeks. Why didn't you tell me? Kasehara spoke quietly. I had already said I didn't want to know, but apparently she had no intention of stopping. Tell you what? I asked you, remember? I asked me what? I asked if you knew where Meg was. I asked you directly, didn't I? Yeah. A pathetic sound escaped me. She was referring to something that had come up before, our conversation in the cafeteria. I told you already. At the time, I thought maybe you and Hayashi's ex were connected. If I hadn't worried about your connections, I would have told you right away. You're making excuses, Yamamoto-kun. It's not an excuse. I plan to explain everything properly later. But why? What do you mean, why? Normally, you'd pick up on something like that right away. Her eyes shimmered faintly with tears. If I'm asking where Meg is, it's because I'm worried about her. Because she's not just a friend, she's more important than that to me. That should have been obvious. You're giving me too much credit. I'm not giving you anything. She was clearly holding herself back, but it was rare to see Kasehara this emotional. That's how worried she must have been about Hayashi. That's how much she must have trusted me. Why, though? Why did she trust me that much? She of all people should know I'm not the type to read the room. And yet, just because I kept Hayashi's whereabouts from her once, she held it in all this time, getting mad, and now blowing up at me like this. Though, well, I guess I did fail to meet her expectations. My bad. You're apologizing. Yeah, I'm sorry. HMPH. Kasehara said with a slightly provocative tone as she wiped her tears. What are you sorry for? Hi. What exactly are you sorry for? She asked the same question twice. That meant I had no choice but to answer it. Seriously, what should I say? Should I just be honest and say I'm not really sorry for anything? But that would just make things worse, wouldn't it? Then again, if I tried to cover it up with something fake, she'd see right through it and probably get even more upset. Ugh, what is with this girl? She's such a pain. Seriously. Why are all the girls around me, Hayashi, Kasehara, so damn exhausting? No matter how I looked at it, I wasn't the one in the wrong here. Hayashi and Kasehara, both of them just dumped their emotions on me. Well, if I had to pick something, I misjudged how strongly you feel about Hayashi. That was my mistake. After all that thinking, I gave the kind of apology that didn't sound like I was sorry at all. Possibly the worst possible answer I could have given. Crap, now I'm scared to look at her face. Yamamoto-kun. I flinched when she said my name. I looked at her cautiously. Kasahara was. It's fine, as long as you understand. She smiled brightly, so brightly you'd think nothing had happened. Seriously, your feelings for Hayashi are way too intense. Relieved that she forgave me, or maybe just overwhelmed by her emotional intensity, I gave her a wry smile. After making up with Kasahara, we ended up chatting for a while. About 30 minutes passed. Not a long time, really, but it felt like it had been ages since I'd last talked to her like this. Actually, it probably had been. I'm kinda hungry. Kasahara said, yeah. Well, it's dinner time already. You're right. Dinner, huh? Lately, Hayashi had always been the one cooking. That might be why the idea of making a meal myself felt incredibly tiresome. Wanna go out and eat? I offered. I figured Kasahara would understand how I was feeling. Hey, I've got an idea. Kasahara snapped her fingers, as if something just came to mind. Why don't we go to the summer festival too? For a moment, her expression looked just a little mischievous. Even for someone who worships Hayashi, I guess getting roped into this situation still annoyed her a bit. Do I even have a choice? You do, I'll just be a tiny bit disappointed. That's what we call no choice at all. Grudgingly, I got to my feet. I didn't really want to go somewhere crowded, but fine. No helping it. All right then, let's go. Yup. We left the room. The sun was just about to set, but the moment we stepped outside, a wave of heat hit me head-on. This relentless summer heat was exhausting. You know, Kasahara said with a smile, completely unfazed by the heat unlike me, who was already feeling sluggish. Walking down the street like this together kinda feels like a date. Sure. Sensing she was about to start teasing me, I casually brushed it off. Really reminds me of when we were dating. Totally. Another easy dodge. My dodge skill is god tier. Apparently, that didn't sit well with her because she puffed her cheeks and glared at me. A moment later, I heard a sigh from beside me. So, how's life with Meg? Kasahara's tone was gentler now, different from when she was teasing me. It's normal. Really? Really? I see, just normal, huh? Well, yeah. I mean, living with Hayashi had become pretty comfortable. Spending time together every day naturally led to a sense of attachment. Yamamoto-kun, you're seriously not honest with yourself. Me, I am honest. Do you know how many girls I've made cry just by saying what I thought? That's not honesty, that's just a trash personality. How cruel, to deny a perfectly decent citizen's entire character. If I used social media, I'd totally post about this conversation right now, spin the story from my perspective, pretend to be the victim, rake in likes, and fill my bottomless pit of validation. Okay, fine. I'll admit I'm not that honest. Yup. Honestly, I already knew. Insisting I was an open and sincere person was a bit of a stretch. So, what's it really like living with Meg? Geez, you're noisy. Why are you grilling me so hard? Because I'm curious. You two were seriously not on good terms back in high school, you know. I actually made a lot of effort to be considerate back then. Yeah, maybe. Sorry about that. You don't need to apologize. I was just doing it on my own. Then don't bring it up. Yeah, sorry. Kasahara scratched her head with an ehe. If our friends from high school heard about this, they'd be shocked. Like, no way those two are living together. It just kind of happened. Still, I bet everyone would be like, what? Eyes popping out and everything. That far? Well, yeah, probably. They'd probably think Meg really hit rock bottom or something. That's not it. It's not. No, I think they'd be surprised that you're actually a nice guy. Back in high school, my personality wasn't all that different. So I guess it's no surprise no one thought I was kind. Well, it's true I'm a firm believer in individuality and self-respect. No, that's not it. Thanks for the flattery. It's not flattery. Ugh. It's not. The air grew heavy. Sometimes Kasahara said things like this, completely unfiltered. I couldn't keep up with the mix of jokes and sincerity. People are so blind, not realizing how kind you actually are. Ever since you reunited with Hayashi, your emotional brakes have been busted. Maybe. Kasahara smiled softly. It wasn't her usual teasing smile. It was a gentle, peaceful one, the kind she only showed when she really meant what she was saying. We kept chatting casually as we boarded the train and got off at the station nearest the summer festival. The train was filled with other passengers heading to the same event, many of them in Yukata. "You okay?" "Why, yeah, I'm fine." Pushed and jostled by the crowd, we somehow managed to make it through the station gates. As expected, most of the train passengers got off at the same stop, all clearly heading for the summer festival. Just thinking about making my way to the venue alongside all these people already had me feeling drained. "Still, I'm surprised you even allowed it," Kasahara said. "Allowed what?" "Letting Meg go this far from home." "Oh, well, yeah." Considering Kasahara knew Hayashi's situation, her surprise made sense. Initially, I'd made it a condition that Hayashi only go out if either I or Kasahara accompanied her. But this time, neither of us were with her. "Well, I figured the person she's with is trustworthy." "Hey, come to think of it, who exactly is Meg going to the summer festival with?" "Huh? Oh, Miyachi-san." Miyachi-san." Kasahara tilted her head. "Oh, that girl, we met her at the supermarket." "That girl? Huh, you sound pretty distant." I said, slightly exasperated. "Isn't she your mutual friend too?" "Huh?" Kasahara looked genuinely surprised. "Wait, seriously, she's not one of your friends from high school?" "Nope." "What?" "She's not." Now that I think about it, I never actually asked Hayashi how she became friends with Miyachi-san. I remember her mentioning that she didn't have great relationships with most of her university peers. But from what I'd seen, she and Miyachi-san seemed to get along really well, so I just assumed they'd been friends since high school. Hold on a second. The other day, Hayashi told me she met that abusive guy at a group mixer arranged by a friend from college. And Miyachi-san is one of her college friends. That's not exactly someone trustworthy, is it? Come to think of it, it's pretty far for a summer festival, huh? "Ah, yeah." I nodded. A cold sweat ran down my back. A bad feeling started to creep over me. This is Miyachi-san's nearest station, apparently. What?" Kasahara's voice was full of shock. "When I first met her, she said she lived near that supermarket we went to the other day, remember?" "Near that supermarket? That can't be right." I made sure to ask Hayashi so many times. I asked again and again why the summer festival was so far. And each time, Hayashi told me it was because Miyachi lived close to the venue. I didn't mishear her. But then, why is what Kasahara heard completely different from what I was told? Could Miyachi have lied about her address? But why? No way. Kei Kasahara, do you know where Hayashi is right now? Huh? You do, don't you? You're that type of person. WL, yeah, I do, but where is she? Tell me now. Kasahara seemed taken aback by my sudden panic, but she quickly pulled out her phone and showed me Hayashi's current location. Yamamoto-kun. Meg's headed in the complete opposite direction from the festival. Kasahara sounded stunned. Where? I peered at her phone. Kasahara, call the police. Before I realized it, I had started running. Even after only a few steps, sweat poured from my entire body. But it wasn't just the heat. A sick feeling wrapped around me, but I couldn't stop running. There was no way I could. Am I overthinking this? Am I just being paranoid over someone lying about their address? Maybe it wasn't strange. Hayashi dropped out of university. It wouldn't be unusual for her to hesitate to give out personal information right after reconnecting with someone. Maybe she just lied to protect herself. Yeah, that has to be it. Maybe once they got to know each other again, Miyachi trusted Hayashi enough to share her real address. Yeah, that's definitely it. Except it's not. I know it's not. They ran into each other at the supermarket twice. My neighborhood supermarket. Twice. Just a coincidence that they both used the same store? Impossible. If they'd met at some super specific, rare place like a theme park, maybe I'd buy it. But this is a supermarket. There are thousands all over Japan. The odds of bumping into someone who lives 30 minutes away twice by pure chance? Not a chance. Those two encounters at the supermarket, being lied to about the address. And now, Hayashi and Miyachi heading in the exact opposite direction of the festival. Could it be? Could it really be? Until now, I thought the only one who might try to hurt Hayashi was that abusive guy. I don't think he'll ever go outside again. What Hayashi said made sense. It convinced me there was no need for her to fear him anymore. But I was naive. He's still on the run. I heard he hasn't returned home once. That must mean someone is hiding him. Some other woman, someone just as taken with him, is harboring him. And isn't it possible that a woman so obsessed she'd shelter a man who'd lost everything might also hold a grudge against the one who exposed him? Now it makes sense. Why Miyachi and Hayashi ran into each other twice near my apartment. She must have been told. That man told her. About the argument, the run-in with Hayashi near my apartment, and how the police got involved. And Miyachi, fed false stories by that guy, plotted to find Hayashi and get revenge in his place. She must have been staking out that supermarket, because if Hayashi was still in the area, she'd eventually show up. That's why Miyachi was there. She was lying in wait, figuring Hayashi would turn up eventually to buy daily necessities. Please, please be safe. I kept running, out of breath, pushing forward with everything I had. Section: Audiobook by Masquerade at Masquerade Audiobooks. Chapter 8, The Wounded Queen. I never would have imagined I'd be able to go to a summer festival like this. It was just a few months ago. I'd started living with a man, Utsumi Makoto, and he was abusive. Those days were hell. I could barely leave the apartment, and all I did was housework. He destroyed my phone and took away my freedom, and even though we were only together for about a month, I was completely drained, inside and out. I shudder to think what might have happened if I hadn't run into Yamamoto again. Because if I hadn't, I never would have seen Akari again. Or Miyachi-san, I would have never been able to reunite with them. The plan to have Akari head to Yamamoto's place just as I was leaving, yeah, that was a pretty clever move, if I do say so myself. I'm sure the two of them are enjoying a lovely evening right now. At least, I hope so. Actually, I need them to be. I want them to get so close that I don't even have a chance to wedge myself back in. I want them to grow so close that I can never go back to that apartment again. Even if it means I lose my place there, I'll push those selfish, pitiful thoughts aside for now. If Yamamoto heard about this ridiculous plan of mine, choosing not to think about where I'd live next, he'd probably call me an idiot and get mad. But even so, I didn't care. If it meant those two could be together, there was nothing that would make me happier. Well, for now I guess I'll have to beg Yamamoto to let me stay a bit longer. I really do feel bad about that. I need to start saving money soon so I can move out of that place. After boarding the train, I noticed that despite it being a weekend night, the crowd kept growing. There were other passengers wearing yukata like me. It looked like most of them were heading to the same place I was, almost there. I messaged Miyachi-san, "I'm already in front of the station." Her reply was simple and upbeat, very much like her. Ever since we reunited, Miyachi-san had always seemed so energetic. It was a bit surprising. The Miyachi-san I knew back in college wasn't exactly shy, but she was definitely the type who adjusted herself to those around her. Kind of like Akari in a way, but I guess a lot must have happened after I dropped out of college. These days, she's more assertive, strong-willed even. Maybe she's forcing herself to act cheerful. If something's bothering her, I hope someday she'll let me help. Just like Yamamoto supported me, I want to be someone who can support others too. When the train reached the station closest to the summer festival, most of the passengers got off. I followed the crowd and exited the train. Right outside the gates in front of the fountain, I met up with Miyachi-san. "Sorry I'm late." "No worries, you're fine." The train was so packed. "Really?" She didn't seem all that interested in how crowded the train was. I meant it as a warning that the festival would probably be just as packed, but oh well. More importantly, Hayashi-san, your yukata looks amazing. Oh thanks. No, seriously, where'd you get it? Happy. Someone gave it to me. Your parents? Nope, not like that. No. Her tone dropped just a little. So, that boyfriend of yours? Why? I flailed dramatically. And no, he's not my boyfriend or anything. Really? He was super handsome though, kinda cool. He's not cool, he's just fussy and overbearing and always nagging me. He's definitely not cool. Calling him that would be an insult to actual cool people. Well, I guess sometimes he can be reliable, that's about it. Miyachi-san smiled. You like him, don't you, that guy? I told you, he's not my boyfriend. I snapped a little, getting annoyed. She really doesn't listen, huh? So jealous. Yeah, she definitely wasn't listening to me. Let's get going. This was starting to feel like a hassle. Yeah. It's that way, right? I pointed toward the crowd of people in yukata heading away from the station. Nope. Let's take the other way. Hi. It's too crowded that way. We'll take a back route. All right. Miyachi-san started walking ahead. Wait up. I hurried after her. You didn't wear a yukata, huh? Nope. I didn't want to. How come? It's hard to move around in one. Yeah, she had a point. After squeezing through that packed train, I could definitely understand where she was coming from. Even outside the station, we could see tons of people heading to the venue. Navigating that crowd in a yukata would be exhausting. But, it's a summer festival, a special occasion. So even if it's a little inconvenient, I still wanted to wear one. I'd been hesitant when Yamamoto handed it to me, but I guess I'm more fickle than I thought. With the clack of my geta echoing against the pavement, I made my way toward the summer festival. The strange feeling hit me about 10 minutes after I started following Miyachi-san. According to the map I'd checked with Yamamoto beforehand, the festival grounds were only about a 5-minute walk from the station. And yet, there wasn't a single festival stall in sight. In fact, I'd somehow wandered into a deserted back alley. Hey, Miyachi-san, are you sure this is the right way? I couldn't help but ask the question to her back as she walked ahead of me. She had said it was a shortcut to the festival grounds, but if that were true, we should have arrived long ago. We were already taking more than twice the time it should have taken. No way. Hayashi-san, do you remember? Miyachi-san's voice was flat. The mixer where you met the guy you were dating at the time. What, out of nowhere? Answer me. Yeah, I remember. I've never forgot. How could I? Hayashi-san, did you ever notice? I liked him too. I thought he was nice. Him. Utsumi. There was a sharp edge to her voice now. Utsumi Seiji. The name she uttered belonged to the man I never wanted to remember. I was so frustrated. It was love at first sight. Love at first sight, and then you just swooped in and stole him from beside me. I see. I saw him again, just recently. Suddenly, everything made sense. It was a coincidence. I swear, a total coincidence. I was walking the usual route to university, and there he was in a worn-out dress shirt. I see. I was so nervous. I didn't know what to say. I wondered if I'd seem weird. Your face even flashed through my mind for a second. I felt a little guilty. But in the end, I spoke to him. Yeah. And I took him back to my place, hid him there. Her fists were trembling with emotion. I heard everything, everything. All of it. She took a deep breath, sharp and trembling. You stole everything from him. She screamed. He told me everything. And she didn't stop. You framed him for something he didn't do and destroyed him. She wouldn't stop. You cheated on him with another man and broke his heart, letting out everything she'd kept bottled up inside. In the end, you even took all his money and just kept living like nothing happened. Her voice cracked into a shriek. She was screaming the lies that man had fed her. At that moment, a single firework exploded in the sky. Blue, red, yellow, more petals of light followed, bursting into the air before falling back down to earth. In the light of the fireworks, her face was soaked in tears. Why does a worthless woman like you get to hurt someone like Seiji? This is what you deserve. A voice shouted from behind. It was the kind of voice I used to find grating, but now, strangely, I found it comforting. Yamamoto. When I turned, I saw Yamamoto, drenched in sweat and breathing hard. For just a second, Miyachi-san looked shaken. Why? But she quickly regained her composure and spat her words out. Just look at you, dripping like a waterfall, playing the gallant boyfriend, huh? She jabbed a finger at me. You're hiding this idiot girl, aren't you? You're just as dumb as she is. Call me an idiot all you want, doesn't matter. But to me, you're the real fool here. What? Her voice wavered with anger, as Yamamoto calmly wiped the sweat from his brow. What's that supposed to mean? You don't get it, I said you're a fool, simple as that. And what exactly makes me a fool? Miyachi-san shouted. You believed someone's baseless words without question. That's what makes you a fool. Baseless? She let out a dry laugh through her nose. They're not baseless, I have proof. I heard it all straight from him. He's staying at my place right now. And how is that proof? What? Everything he told you. Are you really sure it's all true? What are you trying to say? Do you have any evidence it's true? Did you confirm anything? I don't need to. Why not? Because he would never lie to me. You saw the bruise on Hayashi's arm at the supermarket the other day, didn't you? That bruise was from Utsumi. The man you swore would never lie to you. He was the one who hit her and left that mark. So what? Did Utsumi tell you about that bruise? Did he mention it to you? That. So he didn't, right? No. How can you claim what Utsumi said is reliable when he only told you what was convenient for himself? Shut up. Behind Miyachi-san, a brilliant firework bloomed in the night sky. It was beautiful, so beautiful it almost made me forget where we were, so dazzling it made me stare in awe. Ah! Her scream overlapped with the sound of the firework exploding. Then she pulled something dull and metallic from her tote bag. More fireworks soared into the sky, 10, maybe more, and in their glow, the object in her hand gleamed. A kitchen knife. Miyachi-san charged at me with everything she had. It all happened too fast. Hayashi. Before I realized it, I'd fallen back, landing hard on my rear. But I didn't feel any pain. Slowly, I looked up. Yamamoto. Yamamoto, who had been behind me just moments ago, was now holding Miyachi-san back. For a second, I couldn't understand what I was seeing. I couldn't process it. I hadn't imagined this, Miyachi-san actually trying to attack me, or Yamamoto throwing himself between us. Elahi. As I sat there in shock, Yamamoto groaned and dropped to his knees. Why Yamamoto? Seeing something was wrong, I scrambled to my feet. Yamamoto knelt there, completely still. I still didn't know what had happened to him, and I stumbled toward him unsteadily. It's not my fault. He provoked me. It's not my fault. Next to Yamamoto, Miyachi-san had collapsed, muttering to herself in a daze. All her fury from earlier was gone. Now she was just a pitiful, broken shell, unable to accept what she'd done, lost in denial, like someone trying to escape reality. Suddenly, an uneasy feeling stirred in my chest, like being jolted awake from a deep sleep. No, it can't be. Yamamoto threw something toward the edge of the alley. Clatter, clatter, it hit the pavement with a dull sound, and I focused my eyes on it. Another firework lit up the sky. A vivid red burst. If I'd seen it at the festival like I was supposed to, I probably would have gasped in awe. It was that breathtaking. The red light illuminated the object Yamamoto had tossed. I gasped. It was the same kitchen knife Miyachi had held just moments ago. The blade was stained bright red. Not from the fireworks. That was blood. Someone's blood. I turned to Yamamoto, my face drained of all color. I was praying. Praying that what I feared wasn't true. But my prayers went unanswered. Just like the first drops of rain darkened the pavement, little patches of red began to appear at Yamamoto's feet. Bright, vivid red. Yamamoto, Yamamoto. Are you okay, Yamamoto? I screamed, calling out to him as he remained crouched on the ground. Hurts. What? It hurts. Of course it does. Where were you stabbed? I yanked up Yamamoto's t-shirt with trembling hands. It was too dark to see clearly, but it didn't look like he was bleeding from the stomach. My right hand, I grabbed the knife with everything I had. Your hand. Panicked, I pulled his right arm toward me a little too hard. Ow. Yamamoto groaned in pain, and I couldn't even bring myself to say I was sorry. Why? Instead, what came out of my mouth was blame. Why? Why did you protect someone like me? Tears streamed down my face. It wasn't the time to cry, and tears wouldn't fix anything, but I couldn't stop. I'm always causing you trouble, even today, so why would you? You're crying now, right? You're crying because you think I got hurt because of you, right? Yeah. I felt the same. I didn't want you to get hurt, so I did what I had to. I'm sorry. No. I didn't protect you because I wanted an apology. Why is he still saying things like that after what he's been through? Thank you. Yeah. With sweat glistening on his forehead, Yamamoto gave me a smile, as if to ease my fears. You're safe, that's all that matters. It was a messy, awkward smile, so unlike him, and yet, it was the brightest I'd ever seen. Chapter 9, The Floundering Queen. A few dozen minutes after the incident with Miyachi, the police, whom Kasahara had called, arrived at the scene and took Miyachi into custody. Hayashi was also asked to accompany them to the station for questioning. As for me, one of the officers escorted me to the hospital. The doctor's examination concluded that the wound on my right hand, which I'd used to grab the knife, needed 5 stitches. You're quite brave, throwing yourself in the way like that for your girlfriend. The doctor said this during the stitching. She's not my girlfriend, though. But you shouldn't provoke someone who's holding a knife. You might have gotten hurt far worse than this. And if that had happened, the person who'd suffer most would be her, you know. Like I said, she's not exactly my girlfriend. After that exchange, once my treatment was done, I was taken to the police station as well for questioning and to pick up Hayashi. As soon as we left the hospital, the officer who had accompanied me contacted his department via radio. When he was done, he leaned in and spoke quietly to me. They just searched the home of the girl who attacked you. This officer had also been present during the previous incident with the DV guy and Hayashi. He was familiar with the overall situation this time too. That guy, he was there apparently. I see. Yeah, and he's being taken into custody as well. I see. I felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. I guess that was inevitable. Ever since I took Hayashi in, that DV bastard had been lingering at the edge of my mind. Even going out together required constant vigilance. I guess I'd been more mentally exhausted than I realized. I thought about asking the officer what would happen to Utsumi and Miyachi from here on out, but I decided against it. I was finally released from questioning at the police station around midnight. Yamamoto, sorry for making you wait. I reunited with Hayashi in one of the rooms at the station. Just seeing that we were both safe seemed to put our minds at ease, and with that, we left without saying much. Meg. Yamamoto-kun. When we returned to the apartment, Kasahara was there to greet us. Akari. Meg, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Hayashi's voice was quiet. I had a pretty good idea why. Her eyes were fixed on my right hand. Thanks, Yamamoto-kun. Yeah. I heard what happened. Is your hand all right? Kasahara looked at my right hand with concern. She'd been teasing me nonstop lately, so to see her genuinely worried like this kind of made me feel like my condition was way worse than it actually was. Yeah, it's fine. And that's good. I tried to sound reassuring, but Kasahara's voice didn't brighten. The three of us hadn't gathered like this since our wildly successful takoyaki party. But unlike that lively time, the atmosphere now was heavy. Given that someone had actually gotten hurt with a knife, I suppose it was only natural for things to feel this way. Still, as the only one who'd been physically injured, I couldn't help but feel like I was being treated like some fragile object. It made things awkward. I've said it before, but I'm fine. My hand hurts a little, but it'll heal soon, so don't worry about it, all right. It hurt more than just a little. But if I didn't say something like that, nothing was going to change. Still, even after trying to reassure them, the gloomy mood lingered. I'm gonna head home for today. Kasahara gave a weak smile. You two should get some rest, okay? Good night. Yeah. Good night, Akari. Ordinarily, I wouldn't let a girl walk home alone this late, but I was so mentally and physically drained that I couldn't find the words to stop her. After Kasahara left, Hayashi and I quickly went to bed. I woke up about 30 minutes earlier than usual. The pain in my right hand kept me from sleeping well. That sounds like the kind of line a middle schooler would find cool. Not really the time to be thinking about dumb stuff like that. I looked over at the bed and saw Hayashi still sleeping quietly. I felt a bit of relief. She'd looked so down last night that I half expected her to sneak out while I was asleep, saying she didn't have the face to stick around anymore. Well, guess I'll get some cleaning done. I got up quietly so I wouldn't wake her and headed over to the closet to dig through the stash of cleaning supplies I kept there. But I quickly realized something. I couldn't use my right hand. You've got to be kidding me. When you really think about it, injuring your dominant hand is probably one of the worst things that could happen when it comes to cleaning. I liked cleaning, but I couldn't stand doing it inefficiently. That went against everything I believed in. Damn it. If I'd known this would happen, I would have sacrificed my left hand instead. What now? Even by recent standards, this was one of the most hopeless situations I'd found myself in. But with no brilliant ideas in mind, I figured I might as well try moving my hands and think while I worked. I tested whether I could use my right hand at all, but as soon as I gripped the brush, a sharp pain shot through it. Yeah, no way I was using that hand for anything, which meant I'd be left-handed for a while. I started cleaning around the kitchen, but with my non-dominant hand, things weren't going smoothly. Morning. A while later, Hayashi woke up. She's not much of a morning person. Usually her voice sounds groggy when she first wakes up. But today, her voice was just as clear as it would be in the middle of the day. Morning. Your hand okay? Yeah. You're cleaning with your left hand. Well, yeah, gonna have to for a while. That much I couldn't deny. So, if you could maybe give me an extra 30 minutes of cleaning time this morning, that'd be great. I added with a hint of a joke, trying to keep her from feeling too guilty. Got it. Hayashi said it, huh. Got it, just this once, you can extend your cleaning time. I hadn't expected that at all. After how stubborn Hayashi had always been about this, I never thought she'd actually allow an extension to my cleaning time. W8 Hayashi. What? You're really okay with this? I didn't even know why I was asking again. Go ahead, clean as much as you want. As much as I want. If I'd heard those words just 2 days ago, I probably would have jumped for joy. But now it felt different. Seriously, are you sure? Yeah. Totally sure. Yeah. I have additional time, you know. Do whatever you want. She's in rough shape. Well, I'm gonna go make breakfast. Can you clean somewhere else in the meantime? Yeah. Can I really trust her on this? If she says I can clean as much as I want, does she actually mean it? Well, you know. If she says I can clean to my heart's content, then I'm gonna clean to my heart's content. I can't help it. She said I could. Trying to suppress my rising excitement, I kept cleaning until Hayashi finished making breakfast. That said, working with only my left hand really was a hassle. Not that it made me irritated or anything. If efficiency was low, I'd just have to figure out how to make it better. Right now, my brain was entirely consumed with ways to improve cleaning efficiency using only my left hand. Yamamoto, breakfast. Okay. No matter how deep I got into cleaning, I never skipped meals. The last time my cleaning time got restricted was because I skipped out on breakfast. I wasn't about to make that mistake again. Let's eat. I looked at the table. The lineup was rice, miso soup, a fried egg, and grilled salmon. Without a word, Hayashi picked up her chopsticks and started eating. I followed her lead and reached for my own meal, then realized something. My right hand was throbbing. No way I could use it. I could probably grab the chopsticks, but actually maneuvering them to pick up food was out of the question. I tried gripping the chopsticks with my left hand. They slipped out and clattered loudly against the floor. Yamamoto. As I scrambled to pick them up, I heard Hayashi's voice. I looked up and froze. She was holding a piece of my grilled salmon with her own chopsticks, offering it to me. Here, open up. It was the moment. Just like the punishment game from the Takoyaki party. But this time, what sort of penalty was she enforcing? I'm good. I can eat on my own. Sorry. Why? Why'd she sound so down? It completely caught me off guard. W8. When she started pulling the salmon back to her plate, I panicked and opened my mouth. Another awkward silence passed between us. Then Hayashi brought the salmon to my mouth. And just like that, we continued the act we'd once jokingly called a punishment. Again and again, until my plate was empty. That was delicious, thanks. Truthfully, I was so embarrassed I couldn't taste anything at all. But I had to thank her for cooking. Usually she'd respond with a little more joy, but this time, she just gave a quiet nod, her expression still gloomy. Hey, Hayashi, are you? Sorry. It's Akari. She's acting different today. Just as I was about to say that, Hayashi cut me off and stepped out onto the balcony, phone in hand. Her voice carried through the glass, and it sounded far too subdued for a conversation with Kasahara. Yamamoto. She opened the window and called to me. What? Akari says she wants to visit and check on you. What should I tell her? Funny, last time, she invited Kasahara over without even asking me, the one who lives here. Do whatever you want. Okay. Hayashi turned away. Sorry, Akari, I just kinda want to take it easy today. I overheard her as she tried to close the window. Lately, Hayashi had been making an effort to reconnect with old friends. She'd been actively accepting invitations, trying to rebuild those ties. But today, she turned Kasahara down. Am I just overthinking it? Come to think of it, I didn't shower yesterday. The realization suddenly hit me, and I felt gross all over. Hayashi, I'm gonna take a shower. Okay. Here we go. I stood up. Yamamoto. Yeah. I was just about to head for the bathroom when she called to me. What is it? Oh, do you want to go first? What's wrong? I'm coming in. Huh? I'm getting in with you. Huh? Getting in what? The bath. I see. So that's what this was. I totally understood now. Did Kasahara put you up to this? Seriously, if it weren't me, you'd probably actually be in the bath with someone right now, wouldn't you? That's taking the whole punishment game thing a bit too far. You're way too careless with your body. I almost fell for it too. Just a little more and I'd have gone along with it. So close. I gave a theatrical snap with my left hand. It didn't even make a sound. But for some reason, Hayashi didn't react. Wait, what? No way. No. Absolutely not. There's no way Hayashi would seriously ask to take a bath with me. I mean, come on. This is the same girl who freaked out when I accidentally saw her naked the other day. She went off like a bomb over a total accident, and now she's the one inviting me? That's basically textbook double standards. No way that's real, rolls eyes. Actually, now that I think about it, I do vaguely remember her having some pretty sketchy double standards before. I'm serious. Yup. Multiple personalities confirmed. Certified split personality right here. I'll pass. Why? Because you know that. What that? She stepped in closer, not letting me dodge the question. Lately, she's been letting me get away with brushing things off, so why not this time? Anyway, I'm taking a bath alone. Why? No reason. It's fine, isn't it? It's not like anything's gonna happen. It is a big deal. What is? Well, what is it exactly? Maybe my overly self-conscious tendencies. But wouldn't getting over that actually be a good thing? Is it possible that there's really nothing wrong with taking a bath together? No way in hell. Wait, why are you even suggesting this? Suggesting what? Why are you suddenly saying you want to take a bath together? I tried to flip the script, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized my point was actually pretty valid. I mean, we're just acquaintances, not friends, not lovers, just two people who happen to know each other. And now we're about to share a bath? That's not normal by any definition. Hayashi didn't answer right away. She stayed quiet for a while, then slowly looked down. That's when I noticed. She was staring at my injured right hand. No way. Could it be that the reason she suggested something so ridiculous was because there's no way you can wash your body properly with that hand? I couldn't even respond. So I'll wash you. I was speechless, so let's take a bath together, okay? I was too stunned for words. Are you stupid? I finally managed to speak, but it wasn't exactly polite. It wasn't logical either. It was just a knee-jerk reaction, a childish snap. Yeah, I guess I am. Hayashi agreed, still looking down. Yeah, you are. Seriously, I mean, I got hurt because of Miyachi and Utsumi. Why should Hayashi feel obligated to go that far just because of me? This girl, she really takes meddling to the next level. Of course you wouldn't want to get in the bath with someone like me. Huh. Sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. Huh. Wait a second. You're right, this is all my fault. If I'd realized what Miyachi was really like from the start, if I hadn't said I wanted to see my old friend again, if I hadn't taken advantage of your kindness, did I just step on another emotional landmine? If I'd done things differently, maybe you wouldn't have ended up getting hurt. Yup, direct hit on the mental breakdown trigger. Of course you wouldn't want to take a bath with the person who got you stabbed. Hold on. I mean, you like Akari, right? You like girls who are feminine and cute, like her. Ugh. Someone like me, loud, brash. You'd just see it as a nuisance, wouldn't you? All right, I get it already. I yelled in frustration. Fine. I'll take a bath with you, okay? Before I knew it, I'd said exactly what she wanted to hear. I probably didn't think that through very well, but hey, I gave in to her offer. That should be enough to satisfy her, right? It's fine. Don't force yourself. Foi. Hayashi let out a dry laugh, and I made a weird noise in response. Apparently, because I brushed her off at first and then abruptly changed my tune in a panic, Hayashi had taken it the wrong way, and now she was sulking. Sorry, that was dumb of me. Just forget it, okay? Hey. Sorry, I'll go run the bath. Hayashi, listen to me. She stopped just before heading to the bathroom. Seeing how down she looked, I called out in a rush, but I didn't actually have anything specific to say to her. Now what? My head was spinning from the weird mood and the pressure to cheer her up. Right now, I had to get her in a good mood again. I had to get in the bath with her. Hey, don't get so down. I'm sorry, okay? Hayashi still had her head lowered. I was just joking, you know. Joking? Yeah. I just wanted to mess with you, that's all. What the hell am I saying? I was trying so hard to get back in her good graces that I'd started spouting nonsense. I mean, Lately I've been getting teased by you, by Kasahara, by everyone, really. So I kinda wanted to get back at you, just a little. What is that even? I said I'm sorry, okay? Come on, cheer up. I felt like a husband, apologizing to a grumpy wife. Man, husbands have it rough if they've gotta play the doormat like this. So, Yamamoto. What is it? Does that mean you wanted to take a bath with me? If I had to say yes or no, then no. Definitely no. Knew it. You didn't want to. She looked like she was about to cry. And no, yes, it's yes. I blurted it out in a panic. Really? Really? Really, really? Really, really? Oh, screw it. Whatever happens, happens. So please, please, Hayashi. Would you get in the bath with me? She didn't say anything, but I thought I saw her cheeks turn a little red. I was probably just as red myself from embarrassment. I guess if you're gonna beg like that, then fine. She replied shyly. Inside, I let out a sigh of relief. Thanks, really, thank you, Hayashi. Stop saying it so much. Don't be like that, seriously, thanks. For agreeing to bathe with me. I almost added that last part, but stopped myself just in time. Why was I the one begging Hayashi to get in the bath with me? Why was she acting like she was reluctantly doing me a favor? Well, whatever. Section. While the bath was filling, we sat around watching TV, zoning out. Think it's ready by now. Probably. We both stood and headed toward the bathroom. Why are you following me? I asked as I noticed Hayashi right behind me. What do you mean, why? We're getting in together, aren't we? Yeah, but does that mean we have to be in the changing room together too? Hayashi gave me a baffled look. I mean, not necessarily. But if we're bathing together, wouldn't it be faster to just get naked at the same time? Get naked? Well, she wasn't wrong. Since we were going to bathe together, it would be more efficient to undress at the same time. Yeah. I've always been a practical guy, so from an efficiency standpoint, undressing together made sense. But still, mind if I get in first? Wyatt, please. Hayashi must have figured out what was going on, because she gave me a smug little smile. Geez, you're such a pain, Yamamoto-kun. That smug look is so annoying. But if I push back here, she'll probably go, fine, then we'll strip together, or something crazy like that. Thanks, Hayashi. I forced a smile and said it. Make sure you cover the front with your towel, okay? You too. Hee hee. She looked totally victorious as I turned away and shut the changing room door behind me. Then I let out a long, deep sigh. I was starting to regret letting the momentum carry me into this whole bath situation. Can I still back out? Nope, no way. Hayaya. I sighed again, even deeper this time. Yamamoto, are you done undressing? Hayashi knocked on the door as she called out to me. I was so caught off guard, I thought my heart might actually leap out of my chest. Sorry, my right hand still hurts. Just give me a sec. Okay. Hayashi's voice through the door sounded deflated. Right, talking about my injury was a sore spot for her right now. Sorry, just a little longer. No rush, take your time. Her sudden kindness made me feel a sharp pang of guilt. With a sigh, I reluctantly started undressing. My right hand still hurt, but I managed to get out of my clothes in under a minute. I'm good to go. Alrighty. Even though I was just a college student living alone, my bathroom wasn't one of those tiny unit baths. Still, the tub was pretty small. We're really getting in here together, huh? Maybe it was the steam, or maybe it was something else, but my heart was pounding like crazy. For now, I slipped into the tub, careful not to get my injured hand wet. I'm coming in. Okay. The door opened, and I made absolutely sure not to look her way. What the heck? Why are you all curled up like that? Hayashi teased me right away. Shut it. Oh, come on, we've come this far, so just accept it already. You're way too bold in situations like this. Come on, look at me. She sounded exasperated. Reluctantly, I turned to face her. The nape of her neck, bare and exposed, soft, healthy-looking skin, and the only thing she was wearing was a single towel. A seriously provocative sight. Is this good enough for you? You're impossible. She gave a wry smile. And besides, you messed up again. What now? You have to wash your body before getting into the tub. It's basic manners, isn't it? Yes, ma'am. I stood and stepped out of the tub. The washing area wasn't exactly spacious, which meant I ended up uncomfortably close to Hayashi, who was still just in a towel. My head was spinning. I knew I wasn't lightheaded from the heat, I was perfectly lucid. Then why was I feeling like this? Okay, sit down there. Still without any answers, I followed Hayashi's instructions again. Why? I'm going to wash you. She placed her hand on my shoulder. Her fingers, still cool from just entering the bathroom, made me flinch against my heated skin. I'm good. I can wash myself. Not with that hand, you can't. MMMGH. Right. In the end, I sat down on the stool like she told me. Alrighty. She reached past me for the shampoo bottles in front. Her hand stayed on my shoulder. Her arm brushed my back, and her chest was Yamamoto. Why yeah. Just a heads up, okay. W it is. Her breath behind me sent a strange shiver down my spine. I'm not very good at this. My heart was pounding, really pounding. I'm not exactly great with my hands, unlike you. Huh. I wash pretty roughly, just so you know. Just be careful not to get my right hand wet, and yeah, that's all. Oh. Right, I'll be careful. Hot water streamed from the shower head. It rinsed away the grime, the exhaustion of the last day and a half and maybe even some of the stress I'd been carrying. It felt better than usual, refreshing. Ow. I muttered as Hayashi shampooed my hair. I felt the tug of a few strands being yanked out. Ahaha, a bunch came out. That's not something to laugh about. You're fine, you've got plenty left. You're not going bald. I wasn't worried about going bald. I'm telling you it hurts. Geez, you're a guy, don't sweat the small stuff. Seriously, Hayashi can be so careless about this kind of thing. All right, done. Thank you. Okay, next up your body. Ugh. Well, of course, that's the next step. I'll just wash myself, I think. I said, trying to politely decline for several reasons. Nope, I'm doing it. But it's fine. Leave it to me, I've washed guys' bodies before. She must have meant Utsumi. Most likely, that's what she was referring to. From what she's told me, she'd been forced to serve him constantly while they lived together. I see, sorry. There was no way I could say no after that. I gave in. Yup, leave it to me. Her voice was cheerful again. Feels kinda nostalgic. I used to wash my dad's back every day when I was a kid. Oh, so that's what she meant. Back then, I actually got along with that stubborn old man. Now he's disowned you. Yep, alright, let's get started. The body towel she held touched my skin. Having her wash my body with the towel, it felt way better than when she'd washed my hair. I guess she was a lot better at this part, though something about it still felt weirdly suggestive. That was the only unfortunate part. Okay, back's done. NNNGH. Next is the front. I'll do that myself. I'd gotten too comfortable. The moment she said it, I snapped back to reality. But it's fine. Geez, fine. She handed me the body towel, and I started washing my front with my left hand, as best I could. Finished. Yeah. Okay, I'll rinse you off. Once she finished rinsing the suds off with the shower, a sudden wave of fatigue hit me. Good work. Thanks, I'm gonna soak in the tub now. Okay. She nodded with a bright smile. I sank into the bathtub again, doing my best to keep my eyes pointed forward. If I so much as glanced to the side, I had no idea what Hayashi might say. Ugh, long hair is such a pain to wash. I heard her grumbling as she washed her hair, the faint scent of her shampoo wafting over. Come to think of it, you're still using that men's shampoo, huh? Oh yeah, guess I am. You should really get something proper, like actual women's shampoo. Why, the menthol feeling isn't bad. You're so lazy. Call it adaptable. The sound of her rinsing her hair stopped. Geez, acting all smug like that, huh? What are you planning? She's not gonna punch me, is she? Go ahead and try. I'm not apologizing just because of a punch. It's nothing major. I was just thinking I'd take this towel off and press up on you. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. What kind of finishing move is that? Damn it, I can't win. I don't stand a chance against her. Well, to be honest, I do want to take this towel off. It's hot. You're not great with heat, huh? Now that I thought about it, she tried to walk back into the living room in just her underwear after a bath the other day. I hate being hot. Didn't you say you get dizzy in the mornings too? I hate the cold too. You're hopeless. Which is why you need to be the one to take the lead. The sound of running water weakened. I heard the faucet being turned off. Then the sound of the stool sliding across the tile. Phew. And Hayashi let out a long sigh. Move over. She stood at the edge of the tub and looked down at me. I shifted my body over, just like she asked. Alrighty. And then I regretted it. Without thinking, I'd scooted toward the wall side of the tub, putting my back right up against it. Because of that, unlike before, I couldn't look away. From what? From Hayashi's slender legs, her ankles, her thighs. My gaze traced her healthy skin upward, only to stop just shy of its destination, blocked by a white towel. "Why are you facing me in the tub?" I snapped, seeing her sitting directly across from me, knee to knee in the water. "Ahaha, it's kinda cramped, huh?" Hayashi smiled, looking a little embarrassed. "Turn around." Don't me." "Hey, Yamamoto." Before I could finish, she ignored me and looked straight at me. Those eyes, passionate and captivating. What is it, Hayashi?" My heart started racing again. There was no way this wouldn't get awkward, just the two of us in such a cramped, steamy space. Still staring at me with that same look, she didn't answer. She simply extended her pale, delicate fingers toward me. The surface of the water rippled softly. Just a slight disturbance, but compared to that, I was shaking. I'd been keeping myself in check ever since I let Hayashi stay here. And of course I did. We weren't friends. We weren't lovers. Back in high school, we didn't even talk much. That's why I told myself not to mess up. But maybe, just a little. "You really were into weight training, huh?" She spoke in a surprisingly impressed tone. Despite the warm water, it felt like all the heat in my body had vanished. "Hey, can I touch?" "Do what you want." "Thanks, I already started touching before you answered, though." She was patting my abs. "Whoa, they're super firm." "This is nothing. Back in my prime, they were way more impressive." "You're calling 19 your prime." "It's just the truth." "Huh, isn't training tough, though?" "Not at all. My muscles are always excited." "Idiot." Even as she called me that, she didn't stop running her hands over my abs. "You into ripped guys or something?" Not really." "Then why are you so interested in mine?" When I asked, Hayashi looked genuinely puzzled. Maybe even she didn't know why she was so curious about my workouts. "Oh, I got it." But she seemed to find her answer pretty quickly. "It's probably because it's you." That's what she said. For a moment my heart skipped. Ever since we got in here, I'd been on edge, but there was one thing I could say for sure. "That's probably not right." I told her, "Did you forget how we used to be? In high school, we barely talked." "You really think just a couple weeks is enough for everything to change so drastically?" "It has changed." "And what are you basing that on?" "Same thing as you." "Huh? I thought the same thing as you did." "Thought what?" "That you're important to me." I was stunned, speechless. Anyone who knew what our relationship had been like in high school would understand why. Hayashi had just said something totally unbelievable. "I was happy, you know." She continued, ignoring my confusion. "When you came for me yesterday, I was really happy. I felt saved, but you ended up getting hurt because of it. That injury isn't your fault." "Maybe not, but I was part of the reason." If I'd noticed the contradictions in what Miyachi said, none of that would have happened. She was talking about how Miyachi had given a different address the first and second time they met. Don't beat yourself up too much. You guys were friends, right? It's not easy to question everything your friend says from the start. "Yamamoto." "Yeah. I'm sorry." Hayashi apologized. "I'm not actually depressed, though." "You're not." She looked down, then gave me a gentle smile. "Because you always say it, right? Don't apologize, and just learn from your mistakes." Of course I feel guilty. Obviously. I caused part of this and someone I care about got hurt. "Hayashi." "But you don't want to hear apologies from me, do you?" Hayashi raised her head, her eyes slightly moist. She must have been struggling with her own thoughts, and this was the answer she had come to after all that. "That's why I thought, you know." She smiled. "This time, I'm going to be the one to help you." "Help me?" "Yeah." With a shy nod, Hayashi affirmed it. "I finally got it." "You mean?" "When you suddenly suggested we take a bath together. It was because you thought I'd struggle to manage with just one hand." "Yeah." "And you turned down visiting Kasahara to avoid stressing me out." "That's right. And you even fed me earlier." "With that hand. Eating must be a pain, right?" "And you lifted the cleaning time restriction for me. Was that also why?" "No. That was just because you looked like it was seriously taking too long." "Oh, I see. I'll put it back once your injury heals." "Promise?" "Right. Could have just let that one count too, given the mood. Looks like the cleaning time exemption is off the table unless I get hurt again. Damn it." Well, anyway, I decided to reflect on what Hayashi had said. returning the favor to someone who once protected you by protecting them in return. It was a rather admirable way of thinking. Something I, being as self-centered as I am, could never have come up with. I honestly found myself envious of Hayashi being able to think that way, but at the same time, it felt a bit wasteful too. Save that kindness for someone else. I said, for someone other than me, someone who can actually give you something back. Don't be stupid. Hayashi gave a soft laugh. I'm doing it because it's you. There's no benefit in it for you. You protected me last night. You dried my hair after the bath. You set up my phone for me. You helped me reunite with Akari. Ugh. You gave me a place to hide out. She looked a bit bashful. See, it's all benefits. If you say so. Stubborn as always. You know that's just how I am. Sure, but hey, I know you're stubborn too, so we're even right. Fair enough. I'm not budging from my opinion, just so you know. Then maybe you should budge. No way. It's useless trying to change my mind, and you know that, don't you? Yeah, I know. Plenty of objections came to mind, but she was right. Hayashi wasn't going to back down. Ha. I let out an exaggerated sigh. Really, she's just as headstrong as I am. I was trying to be nice here, and she's taking full advantage of it. But the truth is, this headstrong girl sharing my life, it's not as bad as I expected. Maybe I'm not so different after all. So anyway, until your hand heals, I'm going to help you with everything I've got. Is that so? Ask me for anything, anything at all. It's not that simple. I really mean it, anything. Like taking another bath together, or walking me to the bathroom at night because I'm scared, or even letting me sleep in your arms. Whatever. Got it? Then I won't ask for any of the things you just listed. Oh, why not? Hayashi puffed out her cheeks. She might be pouting, but there's no way I could actually ask her for things like that. If I started treating her like a tool, I'd be no better than that bastard Utsumi. And the fact that I'm not like him is one of the few things letting me keep my head straight in this whole cohabitation setup. There's no way I'm giving that up. Come on, please. Just ask me for something, anything. She grabbed both my shoulders and shook me. I tried to stay calm, but my eyes had nowhere to go. Fine, I'll ask, just stop that. Really, what is it? Her eyes sparkled with anticipation. Sorry to make her wait, but honestly there was something I wanted to ask Hayashi. Just one thing, something I really did want to ask her right now. I hesitated for a moment. She might not want to, I thought. But I hoped she would. Hayashi. What? Want to go to the summer festival with me tomorrow? Chapter 10, The Dreamy Queen. Yamamoto, help me put on some foundation. I heard Hayashi's voice from the dressing area. I stood up and headed over. When I opened the door, there she was dressed in the yukata I gave her. Hayashi. What? She was facing the mirror, tying her long hair up into a ponytail. The bruises on your arm, they've started to fade a bit. Yeah. Hayashi smiled softly. Just goes to show how much has happened. Today, like we decided last night while we were in the bath together, we were going to the summer festival. All right, let's head out. After I finished applying the foundation to her arm, we left the apartment. The local summer festival near my place was nothing like the one Hayashi had planned to go to the other day. It was much smaller in scale, a quiet little festival held by the neighborhood residents to show appreciation to the local shrine deity. Quite a crowd, huh? Yeah, it is. I quickly regretted underestimating the turnout just because it was a small-scale event. Food stalls lined the narrow streets, and the number of people weaving between them was more than I expected. Personally, I don't like crowded places, just not being able to walk at my own pace because the person ahead of me moves differently stresses me out. Yamamoto. Should we go back? I turned to look at Hayashi, surprised. She was looking at me seriously. It didn't seem like she was joking. Let's go. Okay. Why did Hayashi ask if we should go home? The answer was obvious. From where she stood, she must have seen how annoyed I looked. Since I was the one who invited her to the festival, I couldn't let my attitude give away how overwhelmed I felt. Still, there really are a lot of people. Yeah. Feels even hotter with how packed it is. Totally. Ugh. The conversation died. I had next to no experience going to festivals with girls, so I had no idea what to talk about. Feels like I might get lost in this crowd. Hayashi muttered, "Don't say stuff like that. You sound like a kid." Hey, I'm a kid. I mean, I'm still a teenager, right? Yeah, well, that excuse would have worked, until recently. Now that the age of adulthood had been lowered to 18, her argument didn't quite hold up. Anyway, even if you did get lost, it's not like you couldn't find your way back to the apartment. It's nearby. Ugh. Hey, don't just go quiet on me. Hayashi blushed faintly and looked down. No way is she not only bad with tech, but also has no sense of direction. Oh, I know. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something. Yamamoto, let's hold hands. Our hands? If we hold hands, I won't get lost, right? If I get lost, then you're coming with me, you know. You'll be fine, I trust you. Don't overestimate me. What, getting all flustered? Don't tell me, you're nervous about holding hands with me. She's got me. The moment I went silent, Hayashi flashed a smug grin. Come on, Yamamoto-kun, you're way too pure. I am cute, sure, but still. Cut it out. It's not about how someone looks. Holding hands with a girl makes me nervous no matter what. So you're not denying I'm cute then? Well, back in high school, you were always cute, at least in terms of looks. Personality-wise, well, lately, I've started to think you've got a few cute traits too. Here. Before I could react, Hayashi grabbed my left hand. Your hand's more solid than I expected. Well, I'm a guy, after all. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. She beamed, clearly in a great mood, and started walking while tugging me along. Suddenly, a toasty aroma tickled my nose. Something smelled delicious. Hey, Hayashi, anything you want to eat? Hi. Food. We should grab something. I mean, we came all the way to the summer festival. Yeah, you're right. She brought a hand to her chin and thought for a moment. Yeah, we're here after all. Then she smiled gently. Cool. So what do you want? Let's see. Still holding my hand, she brought her free hand to her chin and went into thought. Nothing in particular you're craving. Something I learned from living with her. Hayashi's surprisingly indifferent when it comes to material things. She's the type to skimp on accessories for her phone or happily use men's shampoo like it's no big deal. Maybe today, she just wanted to soak in the festival atmosphere. Ah, found one. Looks like she finally came up with something she wanted to eat. What is it? When I asked her, what you want? Hayashi answered, whatever you feel like eating, that's what I want the most right now. Is that so? Yeah. Then let's go with yakisoba. I almost told her she could be more selfish, but I held back. It would have been an unnecessary comment. When Hayashi does want to be selfish, she says things so outrageous it leaves me speechless. That's something I've learned living with her, which means, if she isn't saying anything selfish right now, then she must truly mean it from the bottom of her heart. All right then, first let's figure out which stand makes the best yakisoba. If she was going along with my choice, the least I could do was make sure it was the right one. That was my way of showing appreciation. I decided I'd give it my all in finding the tastiest yakisoba here. You really are such a petty guy. Hayashi gave me a look of exasperation as I poured all my effort into something totally off topic. Don't flatter me so much, you'll make me blush. That wasn't a compliment, seriously. Ugh, you really are hopeless, you know. Her words sounded exasperated, but her voice was gentle. Hey, Yamamoto. Hayashi wore a slightly sad expression. Why did you invite me to the summer festival today? She'd probably been wondering ever since I first asked her yesterday. Why would someone like me, invite Hayashi to a summer festival? It was a fair question. Hayashi knows what kind of person I am. She knows I'm not the type to invite someone out to an event like this, not even close. I hesitated. Should I tell the truth or play dumb? It wouldn't be hard to come up with an excuse. I could probably make up something that sounded totally believable about why I asked her. The old me would have done just that, because I didn't want it to become a trauma. But I wasn't that guy anymore. After what happened at the last festival, it wouldn't be surprising if you never wanted to go to another one again, right? That just seemed like such a waste. Spending time with friends in a special place, making irreplaceable memories, that's what festivals are all about, right? So I hated the idea that something so dumb would keep you from ever going again. I see. That's part of the reason, yeah, but... The real reason, honestly, it's something else. For a moment, I hesitated, because what I was about to say really wasn't like me at all. At first, it really was just to apologize. Apologize? For giving you that yukata. Yukata? Yeah. Like I said when I gave it to you, at first, I was just trying to say sorry. I was looking for something to give you, and then I found that yukata." Hayashi looked puzzled, like she couldn't quite follow. "There were others, you know." My face was burning. More mature ones, fancier ones, all kinds of yukata. My lips trembled, but I picked that one. I felt so embarrassed. In my head, I pictured you wearing it. Even though my heart was all over the place, my mouth wouldn't stop moving. And before I knew it, I was buying it. I knew it was pricey, that it might make you feel uncomfortable, but I bought it anyway. I took a deep breath. "So basically, I wanted you to wear that yukata." I said something that didn't suit me at all. "I thought it would really look good on you." Even though I hadn't been running or anything, my breathing was unsteady. "That's why I wanted to see you in it." I glanced away. I wanted to see you wearing that yukata and burn that image into my memory. I started to regret how much I'd said. You, in that yukata, smiling and enjoying yourself. But at the same time, I realized there was a sense of relief in me, probably because I got to see it. Hayashi wearing the yukata I gave her, enjoying herself, smiling. Walking beside me. She looked completely caught off guard, like she didn't know how to respond to hearing what I really felt. Honestly, I kind of wished she'd just laugh it off. Yamamoto. But Hayashi wasn't the kind of person who'd do that. How do I look right now? She was braver than I was. Me, wearing the yukata you gave me, do I look like how you imagined? And she was thoughtful. "Do you think it suits me less than you'd hoped?" But deep down, still fragile. "Well, what do you think?" She was the kind of girl whose eyes would tremble with uncertainty in moments like this. If you're that scared of the answer, why even ask? Don't say something so stupid. "I guess I feel the same." "Why, you look even better than I imagined." It felt like I'd turned into the yakisoba, sizzling on the griddle. My face was burning that much. But it wasn't a bad feeling. In fact, it was pleasant. Like being in the middle of a good dream, it felt warm and peaceful. Let's go find some yakisoba, yeah." "Why, yeah. Let's go." We started walking, hand in hand, looking for a yakisoba stand, laughing together. And as we walked, a thought quietly slipped into my mind. I kind of hope we don't find the yakisoba stand. I kind of hope this dream doesn't end. I kind of hope this life I've been living with Hayashi, the queen, keeps going just a little longer. These past few weeks living together with Hayashi were full of moments unlike anything I'd ever experienced in my life. We fought, I made her cry. She got depressed. She yelled at me, we laughed together. And through all of that, the time I spent with Hayashi was honestly some of the happiest I've ever had. But I knew all too well, no dream lasts forever. The abusive guy who hurt Hayashi was taken away by the police. Miyachi, who tried to harm her too, was also taken into custody. There was no longer any danger to Hayashi. There was no longer any reason for her to keep hiding in my apartment. All right, I'm off. It was 4 days after we went to the summer festival together that Hayashi began looking for her next place to live. Afterward, "Hello everyone, it's been a while. Miss Wanta Daziman here. Thank you very much for reading. I truly appreciate your support. That said, I'll be honest, writing this arc came with a lot of struggle. Why was it so tough? My room was freezing. Even with the heater on, it was freezing. My hands were numb, and when I tried to warm up by lying down for just a moment, next thing I knew, it was morning. I swear I only lay down jokingly for a short nap. But sleep doesn't take jokes. That thing definitely doesn't have any friends, and even if it asked to be mine, I'd still say no. In the end, my ultimate defense against the cold was simply waiting out the winter. Turns out time really can solve things, and not just in human relationships. Honestly, I was never more grateful that Japan has 4 seasons than I was this year. Finally, I promise I'll try to write a more serious afterword next time. Really, thank you all so much. End of Volume 2.